with the ball, or a team that runs the ball equally as well as they pass the ball. When you talk about passing, you got to think about Jim Kelly. And in terms of receiving and running, it's all one guy, and that's number...
Stojanovic has it teed up, and we are ready to go at Joe Robbie Stadium. Capacity 73,000, about 60,000 on hand this afternoon. Don Beebe back deep, along with Don Smith. And it'll be Don Smith, a Plan B signing from Tampa Bay, with a good return for Buffalo, out across the 30, up to the 32-yard line. Offensively for the Buffalo Bills this afternoon, Kent Hull anchors the offensive line. Will Wolford, bothered, missed most of preseason camp, then bothered by a hamstring, is making his first start the entire preseason and regular season. Jamie Mueller getting the start ahead of Larry Kinnebrew in the backfield today, along with Thurman Thomas. When they go to their elephant backfield, a couple of bulls in there as Kinnebrew joins Mueller. 1st and 10 after a 24-yard return. Thurman Thomas bouncing it out and getting a good block from his wide receiver, Andre Reed, all the way to the 38-yard line. The defensive front seven, an improved one for the Miami Dolphins. They only give up 13 first downs in their opener last week. The strength of that group, their 4 linebackers, led by All-Pro Hugh Green. And in the secondary, the experience coming from the San Francisco 49ers, the signing of Tim McKyer, joining J.B. Brown, Williams, and Louis Oliver. And in their dime, Wilson comes in, defensive end, Glenn Thomas and Hobley in the secondary. 2nd and short, 2nd and 4. Jamie Mueller has the first down for the Buffalo Bills. Out across the 42 near the 43-yard line before he's tripped up by Jeff Cross.
Thurman, because of Thurman Thomas in that backfield, a lot of times that's the guy you got to watch out for. And while you're watching out for Thurman Thomas, all of a sudden they hand the ball off to Jamie Mueller and a quick hitting play, and he piles through for the first down. They just have a great offense, this Buffalo Bill team.
Right now, the Bills going in a 2 tight end set. Thurman Thomas gets the call, 3rd straight carry for Buffalo. And good yardage again on first down of close to 5 yards.
They like to hand the ball off to Thurman Thomas running laterally and have him stretch that entire defense out, then have him pick a hole coming back any way he wants to. If you try to stay and keep him inside, you watch this. The handoff to Thurman going to the right. You see Miami's defense all spread out, and Thurman just picks a spot, cuts in behind his blocker, and just powers through. It's a play that's almost hard to stop. If you try to keep him from going around in, he breaks it back inside. You try to keep him inside, he runs it around in.
Mueller's the motion man on 2nd and 6. Thurman Thomas stumbling out of the backfield. Gets it up to the 50-yard line. Short of the first down by about 3. So 4 straight rushes. And with the way the Buffalo Bills rushed it last year against the Miami Dolphins, better than 400 yards on the ground in one game. The second game, Ahmad, up in Buffalo, they had 280 yards against the Miami defense on the ground. So they may work with that operation until Miami proves they can stop them.
That sounds like a pretty good play. If I had Thurman Thomas, I'd give you Thurman Thomas left, Thurman Thomas right, throw the ball to Thurman Thomas. And he says his conditioning is such that he can take it every single play if need be.
3rd and 3. 3 set up in the pattern for Jim Kelly. The short 3-step drop. Andre Reed for the first down and then some. He is something special. In his 6th year from Kutztown University in Pennsylvania, Andre Reed.
Andre Reed, one of the top wide receivers in the business. He is such a great runner after he catches the ball. Watch him come underneath the defense, catches the ball very strong. Now when he's most dangerous is once he starts running. He's got tremendous speed, strong legs, knows how to break tackles. He turns into a running back once he catches the ball in the defensive secondary. Talking to him before the game, he said, you know, it's time for me to get off. And he did that starting off this game.
Only Sterling Sharp of the Green Bay Packers had more receptions last year. The Bills' Andre Reed, another 2 tight end alignment for Buffalo on 1st and 10 at the Miami 30-38. Thurman Thomas stopped for the first time today.
You will see Miami, every time Thurman Thomas gets this ball and tries to run it wide, they try to contain him. They really don't want to try to make a commitment on the guy, because once you do that, he breaks the ball any kind of way. If you watch the defensive line, watch Miami's defensive line. Everybody's playing contained. They realize the play's going wide. Watch all these players are just trying to stay in their own spot and make Thurman cut back into him, and that was a very good job of doing that time.
4 carries so far for Thurman Thomas, a total of 17 yards. This drive started back at the Buffalo 32. It's now 2nd and 9 at the Miami 37. Mueller, the motion man, leading the blocking for Thurman Thomas. Gets 3, but as you can see, emotionally, that's a big boost for the Dolphins defensive unit. Let's head to New York now for an update with Bob Costas.
Joel, last week, Eric Metcalf was critical of his own play for Cleveland against Pittsburgh, said it was one of the worst games he'd ever played for the Browns. Well, he begins to atone immediately. This is the opening kickoff at the Meadowlands, and he gallops 98 yards for the touch. The Browns lead the Jets 7-0.
So great start for the Cleveland Browns and Eric Metcalf. Welcome back to Miami. Joel Myers with a moderate shot and a key 3rd down early for the Miami Dolphins defensive unit. 3rd and 6. Inside their own 35-yard line as Kelly works out of the shotgun for the first time. He's got Andre Reed, but he's short of the first down. Just inside the 30 at the 29-yard line.
Andre Reed with a very fine catch. And on a play like this, the onus is on the receiver to run the pattern deep enough to get the first down. Here you see Jim Kelly. He's looking for Andre the entire time. Andre tries to push the defense back and then come in for the catch. He wasn't able to go forward after making the catch and comes up just a little bit short.
The elephant backfield has arrived for Marv Levy. He is going for it on 4th down, Ahmad, and he's brought in Kennebrew and Mueller in the backfield.
This is a tough decision for a linebacker. I don't know if you'd rather take on the block by Mueller or try to tackle big Kennebrew.
Kennebrew gets the call. He is right at the first down marker. It is going to be very, very close. The Dolphins think they stopped him. It'll depend upon that spot of the linesman, of course. It's near the 29. Where do they spot it? Inside the 29. Dolphins are celebrating already. They had to go to the 28, and with good reason. Although they are still calling. The referee initially called for a measurement. Now he says no. It is Miami's ball when we come back to Joe Robbie Stadium.
At Acura, we believe that the best way to discourage limited thinking is to design cars in an environment without limits. The NSX, precision-crafted performance from Acura.
Next time.
Wouldn't it be great if
you were center ring facing the great Garbanzo in the wrestling match of the year? And wouldn't it be great if the sponsor was a beer? A really great beer like Keystone, the fresh cold filtered beer in a can that tastes like beer in a bottle because of Keystone's specially lined can. And wouldn't it be great if Garbanzo excused himself and you left with his manager, the lovely Darlene? Cold filtered Keystone and Keystone Light. Bottled beer taste in a can. Wouldn't that be great?
It is scoreless so far in Miami with 9 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the first 15 minutes of play. An early gamble by Marv Levy.
Well, I think if you have an offense like the Buffalo Bills do, you go for that because they've been moving the ball right along. And like you said, they brought in that big elephant offense. And you expect to get those kind of yards. I think if you don't go for it, it really takes the confidence level from your offense away. You got to figure you can get those kinds of yards.
And on the other side, Ahmad, now emotionally, it's got to charge up the defensive unit of the Miami Dolphins. We'll see if it carries over to the offensive group.
Anytime they can stop anybody, that Miami Dolphin defense has got to be excited. But it is a long ball game.
And already we see that the rushing attack very effective in the early going, even though they were stopped on 4th and 2. The man in the middle, John Offerdahl, the linebacker who calls the plays for the Miami Dolphins.
John Offerdahl is a great football player. And between him and Hugh Green, they are the crux of this Miami defense.
Dolphins get it for the first time today. 1st and 10, just outside their own 28-yard line. Sammy Smith stacked up after a gain of about 2. Offensive line, a very young one for the Miami Dolphins. 2 rookies starting on that left side, Richmond Webb and Keith Sims. The oldest player on that offensive line, Mark Dennis, the right tackle, in only his 4th season. In the backfield, Sammy Smith. They're hoping for carryover. Cautiously optimistic after what happened last week, along with the great blocking back Tony Page. And when the Dolphins go to their extra wide receiver alignment, Jim Jensen, the versatile one, comes in the backfield, joining Tony Martin and Fred Banks. Mark Logan's in the backfield on 2nd and long for the Dolphins, and Marino audibilizing and changing the play with 3 wide receivers set up on 2nd and 8. The quick one. That goes for Tony Martin, high school product from right here in Miami. A great success story out of small Mesa College in Colorado for a Dolphin first down. Brought down by Darryl Talley.
That's what you want to get out of that play. When you have a wide receiver that has excellent running abilities, you just want to get him the ball, and if he can break one tackle, he has a chance to take that ball all the way. There you saw Tony Martin showing that not only does he have great hands, but pretty good running ability after the catch.
1st and 10 for Miami. Ball to their own 42-yard line. Sammy Smith and Tony Page. In the backfield once again, it's Smith. And Smith with a big hole over to the left side, wrapped up in a hurry, though. At the 45-yard line, Carlton Bailey, the inside linebacker, making the play defensively this afternoon for the Buffalo Bills. And what a group it is. Seals, Wright, and arguably the best defensive player in the NFL. Their right end, Bruce Smith, up front. The linebackers, an incredible group as well. Bennett, Conlon, Bailey, and Talley. And the secondary, some big hitters in there. Ahmad Leonard Smith and Mark Kelso. When they go to the dime, the rookie from Fresno State, James Williams, comes in. Second-year man Chris Hale out of USC joins as well. Marino on the design roll. Got Tony Page for a first down inside the 45-yard line.
When you talk about big impact players on this Miami Dolphin team, you got to talk about Tony Page. You see Tony Page here at the fullback slot. He checks Bruce Smith. He's blocked. He sees that his assignment's open. He turns around. It's an excellent target for Marino. And now once he catches that ball, he is a devastating runner. They weren't throwing him enough balls in the past, and he finally went over and told Coach Julius, said, hey, I'm no joke. Throw me the ball.
And when we were talking to the Dolphins about Sammy Smith's 159 yards, they constantly brought up the name of Tony Page. Farrell Edmonds with a reception, fumbling it. The loose ball, a scramble inside the 40. Did Buffalo come up with it? No. Right back to Miami. A break early for the Dolphins. Third-year man from Maryland, Farrell Edmonds, with a nice grab, but losing it.
Farrell Evans will come from a set position right inside, just runs a little flat pattern. Now they want him to take advantage of his running ability. He starts to dodge Darryl Talley, wrap him up, and then Odoms comes in and strips the ball, and it starts bouncing around. And as luck goes, it bounced right back to Farrell Edmonds, and the Miami Dolphins dodge a bullet.
2nd and short now for the Dolphins. 2nd and 2. The ball at the Buffalo 37. It's Tony Page banging his way near the first down marker. And I believe he's got it. Yes, inside the 35 to the 33. Tripped up by Carlton Bailey in his 3rd year from North Carolina.
Tony Page is here's a guy that came up with the Jets, and then last year he played with the Detroit Lions. And he was really out of place at Detroit and at the Jets. He came down here and found a home, and he fits in perfectly with this offense. His nickname is Total Package, and he's just a delight to be around. He's got the quick start. He's got a perfect football build, short, powerful, and just enjoys playing the game.
1st and 10 Dolphins, 33 of the Bills on their first series of the afternoon. 4:55 left in the first quarter. Sammy Smith out of the backfield with the reception inside the 25, just short of the first down by less than a yard. Brought down by Odoms and Conlon.
In defensing the Miami Dolphins, you have got to pay attention to Mark Duper and Mark Clayton. And when you do that, all of a sudden, the running back, Sammy Smith, is able to get open. There you see the blocking of Tony Page and everybody else concerned on Bruce Smith, because they are not going to let him run free. Dan Marino told me, I'm going to always have some help on Bruce Smith. Whether it's a running back, where it's the center, somebody is going to always be helping on him.
2nd and less than a yard. Tony Page has the first down to the 22-yard line.
when you watch Bruce Smith throughout the course of the day, he moves all over that offensive front. Sometimes he's at nose tackle. This time he's at nose tackle. Makes a nice quick move, and they run away from him. Marino says you got to run the ball. You don't ever run at him. We find out where he is. When you watch Marino come up to the line of scrimmage, he will find out where Bruce Smith is and try to run a play that goes away from this man, because he can dominate a game from a defensive standpoint like very few others in the league can do.
An impressive start for the Dolphins offensively as Page goes in motion. It's 1st and 10 at the 22. Sammy Smith breaking the first tackle at the line of scrimmage from Carlton Bailey and getting just about 4. Good effort by Smith. Darryl Talley finally made the hit.
Now, we've been talking about Tony Page. Get a look at Tony Page here going in motion and leading for Sammy Smith. Here comes Tony Page in motion. Now watch this block. Gets his head inside. Nice block on. And that's all you need. If you can get a block there and have a stalemate there, that gives your running back a chance to get up inside that block. Tony Page can do it all. That's why they call him total package.
2nd and 6. Ball at the 18-yard line. Play action for Dan Marino. Bennett in hot pursuit. And very dangerously close to an interception.
Also very dangerously, we had 2 receivers in the same spot. Tony Page and Farrell Edmonds. They've got to get that on the same page. You never have a pattern where you have 2 receivers in the same place.
First look at the 10-minute ticker this afternoon. The Jets got that score tied up in a big hurry after that long kickoff return by Eric Metcalf. The LA Rams looking for their first win of the season, leading the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Philadelphia, trying to bounce back from a season-opening loss to the New York Giants. Jim Jensen in the backfield with Dan Marino. 6 defensive backs in there now. A dime package for the Buffalo Bills on 3rd and 6 from the 18. Jensen's got it, and Jensen's got the first down. Went up against the rookie from Fresno State, James Williams, and it's just outside the 10-yard line.
Jim Jensen is a football player. If you have to describe this guy, he can do everything. I asked him, he just got to camp. I asked him yesterday what he played. He said, that's why I'm here. Watch this catch and the run. He puts his shoulder down and just runs over James Williams. Oh, he only practiced about an hour. And he said, it doesn't matter. When you're looking for a first down, he's the man you want to go to. 164 receptions, 98 first downs. Everybody knows it, but nobody can stop him.
1st and 10. Marino going up top to Page. And it's inside the 5 where he's hit by Mark Kelso very quickly to the 3-yard line. An impressive start for the Miami offense. This drive started all the way back to their own 29-yard line.
There are very few backs in this league that can catch with hands like Tony Page just showed. I mean, a lot of times you get running backs that have to catch the ball in their body. Tony Page just turned around and snatched that ball out of the air.
Page made a great catch in the final 2 minutes of play, grabbing the game-winning touchdown from Dan Marino. A 7-yard toss in the win over New England 27-24 last Sunday in Foxborough. 2nd. Just outside of the 3. Sammy Smith on his way, just short of the goal line. But he could have the first down just short of the goal line.
And once again, Joel, leading the way was Tony Page. Watch Tony Page, a lead blocker. This blocker, number 47, Kirby Jackson. Tony Page, 49, just buries him. And Sammy Smith cuts inside and almost takes it in the end zone. Anytime you have a running back that's going to break loose for a lot of yardage, you got to have a back in front of him that can give him room to make those cuts.
Page and Smith stay in the backfield. 3rd inches at the 1-yard line. Jensen, the motion man. It's Smith going up top. Did he get in? No. The Buffalo Bills held.
Once again, see Jensen going in motion, just a deep handoff to Sammy Smith. And Carlton Bailey meets him halfway there and just nails him. Great play. This is where you find out who's a football player and who's not down inside. Down inside here.
Well, that is the final play of the first quarter. When we come back, it'll be 4th and inches from the goal line for the Miami Dolphins, looking for the first score of the day. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie Stadium.
In today's higher revving and hotter running engines, wear is a greater problem than ever before. Oil breakdown can shorten the life of vital engine parts. That's why there's Castrol. Castrol provides maximum protection against viscosity and thermal breakdown. So use Castrol, because driving today can be a grind. Castrol, engineered for today's smaller cars.
You think you're better than me, don't you?
Oh, not again. I was better than you in high school. I was better than you in college. And I am better than you now.
There are still some people in this world who can change tax brackets without changing personalities.
You want to put that to a test?
Let's go.
Now?
Now.
For those people, there's a car called the Legend Coupe from Acura. #1 in customer satisfaction 4 years in a row.
There's a new attitude at Northwest Airlines, a new dedication to service. You can see it in our on-time performance, the best of the top 7 U.S. airlines. That's our commitment, to make sure you're on time for your commitments.
Give the Army Signal Corps 30 minutes, and they can turn a mountaintop into a satellite communication station.
Roger, Bravo 2-6, loud and clear. Be all that you can be. Getting it done right in the Army.
An outstanding drive to start the day for Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins. Most of it coming from the right arm of Dan Marino. He is 6 of 7, a total of 53 yards. Don Shula, second winningest coach in NFL history. This is his 21st season as the Dolphins head coach, and he's going for win number 200 today as Miami's head coach.
I guarantee you it is just as important as win number 1. Now, Shula knows that right here, this is where you really test your offense. You don't want to have to kick a field goal at this point. If you can get a touchdown here, and you should be able to, you're less than a yard away, and playing a team like Buffalo, you need 6 points right here. And Shula is making a decision to go for it.
Dolphins are trying to make a statement early.
It's almost a cop-out to try to kick a field goal here.
Page
early in the game.
Smith in the backfield. 3 side end alignment. On 4th and inches. Smith going up top. He's in. Touchdown, Miami. The 16th play of the drive that started back at the Dolphins' 29, a profitable one.
And a great decision by Don Shula to go for that touchdown. Once again, you watch the front line just fire out. Sammy Smith takes the deep handoff and just goes airborne. You see the linebacker there just missed him. And he goes airborne and ends up in the end zone.
Pete Stoyanovich in for the extra point try. Out of the hold of the backup quarterback, Scott Secules. And the Dolphins have the first points of the afternoon. It comes 4 seconds into the second quarter. A 1-yard run by Sammy Smith as they're trying to snap a 6-game losing streak to Buffalo.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. The 1972 Dolphins were perfect. Their 17-0 record built in large part on an unselfish defense. The unit had no stars, but made opposing ball carriers see stars. Big plays were the result of teamwork, as not a single member of this defense is in the Hall of Fame. As individuals, no player stood out. Together as teammates, they were the no-name defense that made the Dolphins the best they can be.
If you want to land a good job, you have to know what most employers want. Like how to motivate yourself, how to lead others, how to perform under pressure. You can learn all these things in the Army. So no matter what career you choose, you'll really be ready to take off.
It's new. Speed Stick deodorant now has its most powerful combination of ingredients ever. Its stronger new formula delivers more defense against odor. It has no alcohol. Its protection doesn't fade. Speed Stick, new stronger formula.
By minute,
When this is the feeling of shaving, nothing feels better after. Aftershave Skin Conditioner.
Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. A 9-minute, 11-second drive by the Miami Dolphins. You don't see that too often over the last few seasons from the Dolphin offensive unit, that much time on a drive.
You certainly haven't, but you mentioned at the top of the show, Joel, that all of a sudden Don Shula's offense is become a well-rounded. They've been able to run the ball as well as pass the ball, and they showed that it was not only New England they were able to do it, but all of a sudden in their first drive they showed they did it against a tough Buffalo defense.
Stoyanovich ready to kick it away to Don Beebe and Don Smith. Anytime Beebe touches the ball, he has the potential to take it all the way. He may be the quickest of all the Buffalo Bills. A wide receiver you'll see frequently this afternoon. Booted away. Beebe's 4 yards deep, and he'll stay right there. So Buffalo will get it now at their own 20-yard line. Another look, though, back on that touchdown.
That's right. See, all these guys here, they just crash into each other. The collision courses with Darryl Talley, number 56, and Sammy Smith. They're supposed to collide in the middle. Now, take a look at this. Watch Darryl Talley just miss Sammy Smith. Talley dives inside. Smith smartly moves a little bit to the right, dives right by him, and ends up in the end zone.
So the Dolphins have the lead in their home opener. When we come back, the Bills will have it back.
Going 55, if you look at the speedometer for 1 second, you travel 80 feet. At Oldsmobile, our head-up display lets you keep your eyes on the road. It's a feature to look forward to.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Genuine.
Don't worry, Jimmy. I'm sure that's a very cool place.
Draft tapes. The world is a very cool place.
16 miles a gallon in 8 seconds. This one gets 30 miles a gallon and gets to 60 in seconds.
The new generation.
Just a reminder, proper maintenance with AC Delco parts can significantly reduce premature wrinkles. AC Delco, it's like buying time.
Buffalo gets it for the second time offensively last week in their win over the Indianapolis Colts. Very productive day for Jim Kelly, who started out by hitting his first 14 attempts. Today, he is 2 for 2 so far. Thurman Thomas gets the call. Trying to reverse his field, doing so very nicely. Can't stiff arm, though, the man in the secondary, J.B. Brown, in his second year from Maryland.
One of the things that the Dolphins have done, if they stay in your lane, they want to contain him. As he got the ball deep in the backfield and started running to the right. And the worst thing you can do is on the right side of your defense all collapse over that way and have him reverse field and take it around the ends. The Dolphins do a perfect job of containing Thurman Thomas on that play.
And it's funny because Thurman Thomas told us yesterday the Dolphins, when he watched them on film, are not over-pursuing themselves out of play as frequently as he saw last year, playing with much more emotion defensively. They really stayed at home on that play, in particular J.B. Brown. 2nd and 8 now for Buffalo at their own 22-yard line. The dump off for Thomas. Blockers in front. Hit from behind, though, by the big one, Jeff Cross. It's out to the 27. It'll bring up 3rd and 3.
Thurman Thomas, 60 catches last year, 669 yards, and 11.2 a catch, which is a lot for a running back. But, boy, he certainly got unloaded on right there by Jeff Cross. The thing that he does best when he catches that ball in the flat, he immediately starts running north and south.
And Thurman feels like he'll have more catches this year than 60 with the departure of Ronnie Harmon. 3rd and 3. Kelly and the Bills. Over the middle. It's Don Smith for a first down to the 35-yard line. Marv Levy mentioned he's really high on Don Smith, a Plan B signing from Tampa Bay. Originally a second-round pick of the Bucs back in '87.
You run these little quick routes that Buffalo runs. They get isolated on a linebacker or a 4th or 5th defensive back, and the patterns are crossing patterns where you run away from the defensive back. And Kelly able to find his receivers very well, puts the ball on his running on those receivers and gives them a chance to run the ball. I think Jim Kelly has certainly matured and quieted down as a quarterback, and he's much more effective.
Short drop. The tight end, Metzelaars, loses it. Recovery by Miami. John Offerdahl making the hit. Oglesby coming up with the recovery. The rookie from Houston, a 3rd-round pick. What a lick by Offerdahl.
We'll see Metzelaars coming from the right side of your screen, number 88, just coming across the middle. Catches that ball, and John Offerdahl just puts a helmet. That's a form tackle. That's the way they show in those training films that he put that hidden surface on him. That head, shoulder, wrap that arm. He did all of that stuff and knocked the ball out of Metzelaars' arm. John Offerdahl is a very active receiver. I mean, linebacker.
1st and 10 Miami. The pitch for Sammy Smith from the 36. And he is throttled just inside the 34.
The mark of good football teams is whatever part of your team is not playing well, the other part has to play better. I'm sure that Buffalo realizes that. And even in a situation like this where they get a turnover, they realize that they have got to settle down and put the stop on Miami. Conversely, Miami feeling like they got a break with that turnover. They realize that they can get in and get some points now. They get a huge edge in this football game.
On 2nd and 8, Marino will work from the shotgun. 2 wide receivers to the same side. Time for Marino. Overshooting, though. He's wide out Fred Banks.
Now, it's not so much a sack as it is a hurry. But you will see Bruce Smith here working on Richmond Webb. And Bruce Smith taking a wide outside release and just brings it in inside. And he's just there soon enough to hurry Dan's throw and cause him to overthrow that ball. There you see 2 old friends getting together, Bruce Smith and Dan Marino. Bruce Smith was on a, this is who Richmond Webb had to play against so far this year. Richard Dent, Chris Dolman, Reggie White, Carl Mecklenburg, Keith Millard, Andre Tippett, and today he gets Bruce Smith. It just doesn't get any tougher.
3rd and 8 now for the Dolphins. Will they capitalize on the fumble recovery with great field position? Marino going deep as Banks. What a grab! Down to the 11-yard line.
Fred Banks, the inside slot man, just starts to push his defender to the inside, breaks it to the outside, and great concentration. Mark Kelso puts a hit on him just about the same time as the ball gets there, and he's able to hang on to the ball. Anytime you get a guy like Fred Banks in the slot, running a pattern on the 5th defensive back, it is a mismatch.
Fred Banks is coming off the best year of his career. 1st and 10 outside of the 10. Sammy Smith weaving his way for 5, close to the 6. Good surge by the offensive line.
Sammy Smith a little bit lighter this year and a lot quicker. He said last year he came in late, he missed all the training camp, and he really didn't have a feel for his offensive line, for the plays. He was almost confused, so he had to think too much. He couldn't let his running instincts take over. Now he was there all training camp. He's got a quick, fast fullback in front of him making those lead blocks. He's worked with this line all training camp, and you can see now he's making all the right decisions, and you can see that explosiveness that he showed in college coming to life here in the pros.
10 minutes and 45 seconds left in the first half. 2nd and 5 from the 6. Marino for his tight end, and Edmonds can't hang on.
And Bruce Smith, the ever-present Bruce Smith, once again greets Dan Marino. Watch Bruce Smith work. He's on Richmond Webb. He gets rid of him. Now he gets that shoulder down, and just as Marino lets that ball go, he gives him a little love tap just to let him know he's in the area. But that ball should have been caught.
And when people talk about Reggie White and Bruce Smith, compare the two, a lot of people forget that Bruce Smith is working out of a 3-4 system.
He is, and then sometimes he plays a lot on the inside, where the other guys are just premier pass rushers. Bruce Smith is a guy that plays inside, outside. They move him around. You watch him now. He's standing in the middle of the defensive line because you know what he does? He picks out the weakest point on the offensive line, and that's where he works.
Dolphins driving. We'll be right back to Miami.
Oh, here we go! Whoa!
You're dust, baby.
Zombie blitz! How you like me now, baby? Got good life insurance? Oh, 911!
Back in 1966, Oldsmobile brought on a revolution with front-wheel drive. Today, the evolution of Smart Track, the combination of all-wheel drive and anti-lock brakes, will again take the world by storm.
This is the new generation of Olds.
Building security for today and tomorrow is a fragile task. You need to protect what you've worked for, your home and car, a business, while investing in your dreams, college for your children, a comfortable retirement. But it can all be washed away without the right foundation. Kemper, for insurance, for investments. Kemper is the name to build on.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when a car could actually call you if it's being stolen? With Tornado's Visual Information Center and mobile phone, next time it's 11 o'clock, you'll know where your car is.
This is the new generation of Olds.
10 minutes and 35 seconds left in the first half. Some confusion for the Dolphins.
A little bit of confusion, but like the smart quarterback that Daniel is, realizing he didn't have the right people in there to call that play. You see him there. He's looking around for the right people, looks in the huddle, and finds out there's somebody missing, and quite wisely, rather than run the play, he calls a timeout.
They're down at the 6-yard line. They get a first down, just inches away from the goal line. Marino going into the corner for Banks, and he was all tangled up with the extra defensive back, Chris Hale. With the Dolphins leading by 7, let's get an update once again from Bob Costas in New York.
Hey, are you watching the inside receiver?
All right, Joel, the Jets, after trailing 7-0 following Eric Metcalf's game-opening kickoff return for a TD, have stormed back to lead 14-7. Johnny Hector capping a 90-yard drive with this 6-yard run. Blair Thomas, the rookie out of Penn State, playing especially well for the Jets. They lead 14-7.
All right, Bob, Pete Stoyanovich back here in Miami is now going to attempt a 23-yard field goal. He was 2 for 2 last week in the 3-point win over the New England Patriots. On the hold of Seafuels, it's perfect. And they do capitalize on the fumble recovery of the drop of Metzelar. So it's a 10-point lead now for the Dolphins with 10:26 left in the first half.
17 years ago, Oldsmobile offered the public the first airbag. So when other car companies proclaim their undying devotion to your safety, remember who pioneered the airbag.
This is a new generation of Olds.
It's new. Speed Stick deodorant now has its most powerful combination of ingredients ever. Its stronger new formula delivers more defense against odor. It has no alcohol. Its protection doesn't fade. Speed Stick, new stronger formula.
By men.
Nothing's rougher on a man's face than shaving. That's why there's Skin Bracer. It's more than an aftershave. It soothes, cools, tightens pores, so it's good for your skin.
Thanks. I needed that.
Skin Bracer Aftershave.
By men.
Developing a fuel-efficient 4-cylinder engine is easy. Giving it the power of many V8s is hard. Oldsmobile offers you the revolutionary Quad 4, the best of both worlds.
This is the new generation of Olds.
How much insulation do you have in your attic? 3 inches? 6 inches? Well, the Department of Energy recommends R38 for most American homes, which is equivalent to a foot of Owens Corning pink fiberglass. So grab a ruler and measure your attic insulation. Then get rolling. Because 12 inches of pink fiberglass can help you get a foothold on your energy bills.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by the new generation of Oldsmobile. Step into the future now at your Oldsmobile dealer. By AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. And by Miller Genuine Draft, cold filtered for real draft taste. So get out of the old, get into the cold.
Once again to South Florida, Joel Myers along with a moderate shot. Stoyanovich ready to kick it away once again. 10:26 left in the first half. Miami Dolphins trying to start out at 2-0 for the first time since 1984. How dry things have been in South Florida. Don Shula and his team in recent seasons. Beebe, Smith, waiting once again. It'll be Beebe at the 4-yard line. And Beebe with flags down in the play. Got his feet all tangled up and is down at the 22-yard line. But there are flags down around the 35. And like most everything else so far, it is going against the Buffalo Bills.
Marv Levy is not very happy about the way his team is starting to play.
So the mark-off puts the Bills back deep in their own territory when we return at the Buffalo 12-yard line.
Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized.
What happened? The car just kind of...
Ask him. Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its real draft taste, the world is a very cool place.
This Oldsmobile got 16 highway miles a gallon and went 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. This one gets 30 miles a gallon and gets to 60 in 7 seconds. Isn't technology wonderful?
This is a new generation of Olds.
Sometimes, without any warning at all, cars and trucks quitting before their time, before their owners get the most out of their investments. Maybe they don't know about AC Delco, a full line of auto parts designed with proper maintenance to help your car or truck last. Maybe they should. AC Delco. It's like buying time.
If you want to go places in any career, ask yourself, can I perform under pressure? Can I be counted on to get the job done? You can learn how in the Army, so when you're ready to take off, you'll know you can go far.
Wednesday, NBC Premiere Week continues. Will the Finelli survive for breakfast?
Good morning, everybody.
The top-rated new comedy this season. The Finelli Boys. Then, hold on. Will John get lucky this year?
Hello, gorgeous.
Yes! It's the season premiere.
Lucky.
Dear John after the Finelli Boys on NBC Wednesday.
A rocky start so far for the Buffalo Bills before close to 60,000 at Joe Robbie Stadium. And welcome back once again, Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. First drive for the Bills ended on a failed 4th down attempt. The next one resulted in a fumble by the tight end. The third starts at the 12. Kelly has plenty of time and shoots it wide of his intended target. His tight end, Pete Metzelaars.
From ground level, let's take a look at that. Jim Kelly has all his receivers running routes. Now, you'll watch him trying to find a receiver. He's looking to his right, over the middle, can't find anybody, back to his left, and then all of a sudden, the last moment, he tries to find Metzelaars. It's very tough to throw that ball when it's that decision, like the 4th or 5th decision that you make. You really don't have, your feet aren't underneath you, and you don't have any oomph behind to throw that ball.
Pretty good protection, though, by that offensive line.
Great protection. Gave him a chance to look at all those people.
Throwing on 2nd and 10 from the 12. Going for his other tight end. Intercepted. Lewis Oliver, I believe he got it. Yes, the Dolphins have it back. What a scoop before it hit the ground. He wanted McKellar.
You'll see Jim Kelly fire this ball into McKellar. McKellar at the bottom of your screen running a little break-in pattern. The ball is broken up by McKyer. It bounces up in the air, and then watch Lewis. Louis Oliver just snags that baby just before it hits the ground and shows that he's got a fine pair of hands on him. Louis Oliver, the kind of player that comes out here about an hour before the game and goes through a tremendous track stretching exercise, and then once the game starts, he turns into the hammer. If you ask anybody in the league, he's one of the biggest hitting safeties in the business and also has a fine pair of hands.
Moreno throwing for his tight end. Edmonds holds on this time to the 20-yard line. So this drive starts just inside the 25 for Buffalo, and the second consecutive time as the Bills have turned it over and the Dolphins have it deep in Buffalo territory.
The way you get Farrell Edmonds open, is you line him up tight and have him run away from the defender. And if you've noticed, all the balls they've thrown to him today are balls that where he is running away from the defender. He's got such range, he's very hard to cover.
Second, a long 5, close to 6. Smith and Page stay in the backfield. Clayton going in motion. It's the delay to Sammy Smith. Hanging on to the ball, close to a first down. It looked like they were trying to rake it away, just like the New England Patriots did last week to Sammy Smith.
Well, Joe, anytime that you fumble a ball, the rest of the league sees it. And from now on, every time he'll carry the ball, they'll be trying to rake that ball out from underneath him. That's the worst thing about a fumble, is once you do fumble, then everybody thinks you're a fumbler. But you see Sammy Smith just exploding through that Buffalo defense, something that we didn't see him do very often last year. But as he has shown us, this is a new year and a new Sammy Smith.
And he's got Tony Page, too, which doesn't hurt in the backfield.
That also helps to have that lead blocker, a guy that can get out there and explode on the first guy that's coming to get you.
Third and a yard, up the middle. We've been talking about him, the total package. Tony Page, he's got the first down. Updating scores on the second Sunday of the season. Detroit with a 7-point lead over the Atlanta Falcons. Green Bay looking for their second straight win, while the New York Jets with 14 unanswered points now on the Cleveland Browns. The LA Rams with a positive start, trying to even their record at 1-1, just like the Indianapolis Colts. And the Philadelphia Eagles also trying to get to 500. Don't forget about next Sunday, Ahmad and I will be in Green Bay at Curly Lambeau Field for the matchup between the Chiefs and the Packers. And the second game, the Steelers and the Raiders for many of you. Check your local listings for the game and the time in your area. Clayton in motion on 1st and 10. Logan out of the backfield all the way to the 5-yard line for the fourth-year man from Kentucky. His first carry of the day.
This Miami Dolphin team, they've got such an awesome attack, and they're lining right up on the ball again. Just an underneath pass. Buffalo thought it was a run. They give him the underneath draw play. And Miami comes right back up on the ball, right up in the line of scrimmage, trying to keep Buffalo's defense the same, not allowing them to get a replacement on the field.
The rain starts to fall on 2nd and 2. The counter to Logan. Logan driving with flags down near the first down marker. Mike Lodishin, their rookie out of UCLA, in on the stop, holding no on Miami. Our official today is Dick Hantak.
Shula. That man has been on the sideline for quite some time. He was there before I got in the league. He's there after. He's one of the most well-respected coaches by the players in this
offense.
business.
Number 62, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
Get a holding call against Miami. But Don Shula, it's one thing to be respected by your own players. Don Shula is respected by the players throughout the league. He is just a great football coach, and having been around him quite a few times, he's a wonderful man. He's mellowed a little bit, and I guess that happens when you become a grandfather.
Only 39 wins away from becoming the winningest head coach in NFL history, as the rain really starts to fall now at Joe Robbie Stadium. 2nd and 12, the ball back at the 15-yard line for Marino. Sammy Smith breaks the tackle to the backfield, still on his feet to the 10. But it looked like Leon Seals or Darryl Talley could have had him possibly in the backfield.
Certainly a passing situation, and it's so strange in the past, when Miami's been in a passing situation, they have definitely thrown the ball. Even a passing situation for Miami in the past was any down. It didn't matter what down it was. But all of a sudden now they show that they have some confidence in their running ability. A certain passing situation, and they end up running the ball to Sammy Smith.
Dolphins got the ball on the interception by Lewis Oliver after the deflection by Tim McKyer at the 24. Now they're looking at 3rd and 8 at the 11-yard line with Jensen resetting to the backfield. 4 wide receivers for Marino over the middle, and his wide-out Banks couldn't come up with it. Good coverage provided in the secondary by Nate Odoms.
Had Banks caught that ball, that would have been one of the highlights of the entire year. Odoms almost touched it, and Banks almost caught it. You watch Banks, he's the inside receiver, splits the 2 defenders, now just takes off inside. Odoms tries to make the move, misses the ball. Banks hits him in the hands. He's just not able to hold on to it on the way down. Marino putting that ball only where Banks could catch it. Just didn't come through.
It'll be a 28-yard field goal attempt coming up.
You're talking about this rain, Joe. This rain is not going to affect the play of this game at all. The field is a great field. It drains. The rain just sucks through the bottom of the field. The footing will stay the same, and it shouldn't have an effect.
Call it a 29-yard effort by Pete Stoyanovich. They get 3 more on the interception. Stoyanovich now 4 for 4 on the year, and it's been all Miami so far.
Walk into a television showroom, and someone will probably try to sell you a set with a foreign name on it. Before you see their choice, ask to see yours. Ask to see the first TVs that combine digital video and audio with a performance to back it up. Ask for picture-in-picture with triple flashback. Ask for a single remote that can learn to run everything. Ask to see a Zenith. For true innovation in television, quality never looked more like a Zenith.
My athlete's foot kept flaring up. I'd put it out, and it'd just flare up again. Then my doctor told me about Tinactin. It cures recurring athlete's foot. Use it regularly, and it'll keep the fire from coming back.
Tinactin puts the fire out for good.
I'm Mike, Paxton brother nobody knows. We all shave with the same razor, Slim Twin Disposable. It's got a narrow head. Like Mike. Yeah, so you can shave hard to reach places.
Men prefer it over good news. The Slim Twin Disposable from Schick.
I know when your car gets banged up, you want more than sympathy. You want somebody to fix your car. I'm State Farm Agent Bob Miller. When you have a claim, I'm on the phone right away to our claim center.
We don't have waiting lines. We have appointments. You leave with a repair authorization. If the body shop has any questions, have them call us.
We take care of our policyholders. If you have an accident, you just couldn't be with a better company.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It's an early 13-0 lead. It's an early 13-0 lead for the Miami Dolphins over the Buffalo Bills. Welcome back once again. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Right now, the Bills are own worst enemy. They did not commit a turnover last week, already 2.
If you want to make Marvin Levy's hair go grayer than it is have a team that's all of a sudden turning the ball over, because that's something that they don't do. The thing is, you can have turnovers, but what Miami has done is they've capitalized on every turnover, and that's the reason that Buffalo is in the spot that they're in.
The ball is blown off the tee for Pete Stoyanovich. Now, coming over to the ballpark, Ahmad, a lot of people were concerned about the heat and the humidity. I guess this liquid sunshine will cool them off in a hurry.
Yeah, one thing that it did, too, is it actually cooled the field off, cooled the players off. There's only one thing that one weather condition that I think that really has an effect on a game, and that's wind. Because when it's windy, it really throws your offense out of whack. But rain, that doesn't do anything. Keeps you cool.
It'll be Beebe staying in the end zone. So Buffalo will get it for the 4th time this afternoon in the first half. Back at the 20-yard line. And earlier today on NFL Live, Al Davis discussing Marcus Allen playing a larger role. Won't be featured quite yet, though. Bubby Brister more comfortable now with the Steelers' new offense. Offensive coordinator Joe Walton. And Will McDonough was talking about Jerry Glanville not being fine. Last week's comments towards Jack Pardee and the Houston club.
If you try to find Glanville for all of his comments, you'd be finding him every single week. I just think Glanville is great. He adds a little color into the league.
Jamie Mueller banging it, but going absolutely nowhere. Maybe 2 at the most. He is to the 22-yard line. Alfred Oglesby, rookie out of Houston, making the hit on Mueller.
And speaking about Glanville, a lot of times he has, when you end up playing him, it's a distraction because your team is thinking about Glanville and not the team that they got to play. So he uses all of that to his best advantage. What a poker player.
2nd and 8, the rain. continuing to fall with a good deal of force in Miami. Thomas in the flat out of the backfield. He's got it. A great grab up across the 30 for a first down. It looked like the defensive back McKyer was possibly going to get to the ball. What great concentration by Thurman Thomas.
Well, you watch Thurman Thomas here, and this was a ball that Kelly threw. The only guy could catch it actually was Thurman Thomas. Watch this ball. It's very easy. It's out in front of him. There's no way. McKyer just takes a chance, and that's what happens when you take a chance. The guy catches the ball, breaks the tackle, and goes all the way. A lot of defensive backs sometimes would play the tackle rather than trying to go over and try to play the ball.
It's a first down for the Bills.
McKyer, an excellent defensive back.
And Kelly's throwing. Has time. It's Andre Reed. Would love to float Reed over the middle. And he's popped out of bounds after completion of about 4 yards to the 34. Hugh Green forcing him out.
We'll see it the way Kelly sees it. You see Kelly here take the snap, back up, look downfield. Now coming from the right-hand side of your screen, you're going to see Andre Reed come underneath the defense. Now this is a play that they throw to him, and the way the play works is he's got to turn the ball upfield and try to get some extra yardage. It's not a play that you want to throw the ball deep down the field. You get it to a receiver that can run after the catch, and hopefully he can break a tackle and get up the field.
Jim Kelly now 7 of 10, but only 42 yards so far with 1 interception. Jamie Mueller can't get out of the backfield. Cliff Odom, the inside linebacker in his 10th year, stuffing the play completely.
When Miami was looking for some improvement, not only in their run offense, but they wanted to improve in stopping the run defensively. Watch Cliff Odoms on the top of your screen. Here he comes free. There's nobody on him. And if there's nobody on you, you got to make the block. I mean, that's a free tackle right there.
The last meeting between these two teams, the Bills had 280 yards on the ground as both Kennebrew and Thurman Thomas went over the century mark. What a difference a season and a few personnel changes make. Third down with flags up in the air, going deep for Lofton, and it's just barely knocked away. Flags down on the play, though. Getting back defensively, J.B. Brown. Second-year corner, a 12th-round draft choice. It'll be declined by Miami.
And Buffalo obviously trying to take advantage of the abilities of a 13-year veteran against a rookie.
Illegal motion. Offense number 75. Penalty is
Lofton
declined.
just not able to come up with the catch. And on any drive, you've got to make great plays to keep the drive going. Nothing comes easy in this business.
John Neese, who did not have to punt the ball last week against New England with his first career attempt. The rookie from Arizona sends on a wobbler. It's Tony Martin losing it, but regaining it inside his own 35.
From an emotional standpoint, Joel, it has been all Miami. They have just swarmed all over this Buffalo team from both sides of the field.
Don't forget next weekend live on the Saturday Sports Showcase, the outrageous featherweight champ Jorge Paez brings his colorful antics and flashy style back to the ring. After fighting off all the challengers to his throne, he moves up in weight class now to go head-to-head with the IBF Junior lightweight champ Tony the Tiger Lopez in a scheduled 12-rounder.
Sounds like a
great battle.
Sounds like a breakfast cereal.
Paez and Lopez, Saturday Sports Showcase right here on NBC. The injured Bill is Steve Tasker, who a number of years now has done a sensational job on their special teams. Updating scores around the league on the 10-minute ticker. Chicago's taking the lead over Green Bay. Well, the Jets have come up with 17 straight points now after that long kickoff return by Eric Metcalf to start the game for the Browns. Comfortable lead in the first half as well for the Los Angeles Rams. And right here, Joe Robbie. The momentum in the direction of Miami.
A lot of people talk about those 49ers out there in the NFC West, but a lot of other people, especially out there in your hometown, Joel, talk about those Rams. They may be the team.
And many feel if they weren't so banged up during the preseason, that it could have been a different story last week for them in Green Bay. They've missed a lot of people, especially in the secondary, like a Jerry Gray, who was hurt in the last preseason game. Ahmad, overall, I think there's better balance in the league now in both conferences.
Having played a long time, I don't don't ever remember playing any real dog teams. I really don't. Even teams that weren't supposed to win, they were always tough every Sunday.
Dolphins now in their 4th series. They have scored in their first 3. This is from their own 35. Sammy Smith with blocking into the secondary. Flags down, though, as Smith is dumped at the 48. Flag is way back, though, at the 34-yard line. Mark Kelso in to stop the free safety. He looks like a more patient runner, doesn't he?
He knows where his blocking is coming from. You'll see Sammy Smith at the right-hand top of your screen up here. Just take an underneath handoff and starts off on the right side. There's the underneath handoff. Starts off right. And now he makes this cut right. He breaks the tackle and then breaks it back the other way. He just appears to be a lot more confident. And when you make a run like that and you get a penalty like that, that is really tough. That's a lot of energy for nothing. And I guarantee you the person who caused that penalty is trying to disappear in that huddle.
First down yardage, what a huge difference. Better than 5 yards per try, as opposed to a little bit better than 2.5 for Buffalo.
And going into this game, you'd think that these statistics would be switched around.
Play action, the reverse. Almost bobbled in the backfield as Fred Banks does a good job to get about 3. He almost ran into Dan Marino.
When I see that play, it brings back the old Dolphins of old when they had Zonka and Kick and Mercury Morris pounding away at you. And all of a sudden, when you think you'd stop that run, all of a sudden here would come Paul Warfield on that sweep around right in. And here you just see Banks trying to get outside, but a very nice play by Buffalo, just containing that play.
That brings us to the 2-minute warning in Miami. The Dolphins with the ball, but facing 2nd and long when we return. And Miami has a 13-point lead.
Did you ever think you'd see the day when a car could actually call you if it's being stolen? With Tornado's Visual Information Center and mobile phone, next time it's 11 o'clock, you'll know where your car is.
This is the new generation of Olds.
His toy has stopped.
Lights rock,
And he has started. You run to the junk drawer for a battery. But which ones are good? You'd know with the new Copper Top Tester. It's absolutely free, only from Duracell.
A little brains, a little luck, and a lot of late nights. A good family, a good spot, and some good advice. That's the way it's supposed to be. And USF&G standing behind me. That's the way it's supposed to be. And USF&G standing behind me.
Today, a guy losing his hair can choose between being the man he wants to be
We look great with hair. Do something to save it.
and the man he could become.
Can't you accept nature like everyone else?
Doctors have hair loss treatment programs that are proven to work, and the sooner you see a doctor, the better.
We don't want nature. We want hair.
When you've considered the arguments,
We might look great bald.
and you decide you want hair, there's only one thing to do. See your doctor, or call this number for more information.
The former coach of the Baltimore Colts, the Bills offensive coordinator Ted Marchibroda, and Jim Kelly was talking about him a lot this week and what a great game plan he put together in their opener against the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, Teddy, a dear friend of mine. He can draw him up, but it's up to the players to try to pull him off, and they haven't been able to do that today.
Dolphins facing a 2nd and 17 with exactly 2 minutes remaining in the first half. The counter to Logan. Huge hole up the middle. Flags down again, though, as Bruce Smith is saying, I was held. It's good enough for the first down. But I'll take Bruce's word on it.
You know, certainly is holding. And we've talked about, if you watch Bruce Smith, they're trying to run away from Bruce. Wherever Bruce decides to line up, then what Marino wants to do is run the ball the opposite way.
Holding, offense, number 80, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, 2nd
I believe
down.
they called it on the tight end, Brian Kinchin.
But to illustrate that point, you'll see Bruce Smith line up right there and watch them run right the opposite way. The last thing they want to do is run at Bruce Smith, who was doing some. He also used a little bit of do some officiating. points back, knows that it's a holding. Bruce, who has gotten stronger over the past offseason, he was working out with a Russian weightlifter and Pernell Whitaker, the heavyweight boxer, and says that he feels a lot stronger. That's probably the last thing that any offensive lineman in the league wants to hear. Bruce Smith stronger.
And nullifies an 18-yard run by Logan. The dump off is the screen over the middle. And Logan gets to the 25-yard line. Harold Talley, Kirby Jackson combining on that stop.
Miami having a very excellent plan. Anytime you get in a passing situation where you want to put a lot of pressure on Dan Marino. Here comes everybody. Here comes Smith. Here comes Seals. Here they all come. Here comes Cornelius Bennett. And after they all go by, then Marino just dumps it over on that little screen play, and hopefully they can get the ball down the field. But Marino has played against his team enough times to know how to try to counterattack their defense.
The Bills stayed at home in the last one, and it brings up a 3rd and 21. Just shy of the 25. Jensen the only one in the backfield for Marino, and Jensen is underthrown. And they're a good 12 yards short anyway, the first down.
And the reason he is underthrown is because number 78 was back there once again to greet Dan Marino. You watch Bruce Smith, an outside rush, gets his shoulder down underneath Webb, and watch this. See, it's not so much of making that sack, it's just rushing that throw. As a quarterback, in order to throw the ball, you have to step forward. And when you have to step forward, when you got a guy like Bruce Smith running right at you, that's one of the toughest things in sports to do. That's like saying if you see a car coming at you, jump in front of it.
Reggie Roby punted it to Chris Hale. Sending out a beauty. Hale will take it back at the 20-yard line. Making the first man miss. Gets it up to the 28, near the 29. So the Bills have it back. We'll see their 2-minute offense with only 48 seconds remaining. And they're trailing by 13.
I'm State Farm agent Jeff Libby. One of the most gratifying parts of my job is helping young parents. People who are just beginning to understand what life insurance is all about. Young couples don't need a sales talk. They just need to talk to someone who understands them and their life insurance needs. Now, I know what that promise of security means, and I don't believe there's a better promise a parent can make.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And going.
Kelly working out of the shotgun, had time initially, but Oglesby finally got to him, the nose tackle. The rookie from Houston for the Miami Dolphins.
Watch Jim Kelly. He's trying to find the receiver downfield. He has a lot of time. He can't find the guy he's looking for. Tries to step up in the pocket, and Oglesby just makes a fine play of sacking Jim Kelly. Jim Kelly is a guy that realized that Oglesby will be putting a lot of pressure on him, but Kelly doesn't panic in the pressure. I mean, in this situation, he gets better.
So Kelly is sacked for the first time this year. His offensive line with superb protection last week. And don't forget, coming up at halftime, the NFL Live team with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and O.J. Simpson. The scores and highlights from around the NFL in the second week of the season. There's 43 seconds remaining in the first half here in Miami.
Well, O.J. had the big pick last week. He picked the upset by the Raiders over Denver. I wonder if he dabbled in that a little bit this week.
It is going to be a difficult Sunday for the L.A. Raiders. That has been a house of horrors for them, the Kingdom in Seattle, with the exception of maybe that Monday night game where Bo Jackson turned everybody in the country on.
Yeah, but Joe, we got the new Raiders, though.
Different start for Al Davis's team, and now they know they are staying in Los Angeles. Second and long for Kelly, going over Thomas. Coverage provided by Lippert Hobley. The pressure, though, in the backfield from Jeff Cross.
Miami Dolphin defense, boy, is just tough. You see number 91, Jeff Cross, a very active defensive lineman. Watch him I mean, it's amazing to see the agility in some of these big, huge people like that.
Kelly decided to go with a no huddle with 34 seconds left. And there were flags in the air as soon as the ball was snapped. They may have to put 3 seconds back on the clock.
5-yard penalty.
It was a dead ball foul. With 37 seconds remaining. It'll bring up 3rd and long. 3rd, close to 20.
See Jim Kelly, the cool, calm, collected Jim Kelly, 7 of 12, 42 yards. one interception, which really wasn't his fault. It was a ball that was knocked up into the air and picked off by Lewis Oliver.
3rd and 19 from Kelly's own 20. For Thurman Thomas, and rarely will you see a ball even close to Thomas that he does not come up with, let alone go in his hands and out of his hands.
Can't throw him any better than that. Kelly just threaded the needle there. You see Thurman Thomas on the middle side of your screen just goes down and stops. Kelly puts it right in between two guys and just a little bit too much on it.
So Neeson for his second punt of the day. Tony Martin. And his first year waiting. He was on the developmental squad last year for the Dolphins. Martin with good speed, now reversing his field as he gets some blocks. Inside the 45. So an opportunity once again for Dan Marino and the Dolphin offense. Still with 16 seconds left in the first half. Marcus Patton, former USC Trojan, making the hit on the special teams. Scores and highlights. NFL Live at halftime. Dan Marino and the offense back out there. We'll find out if Don Shula is content with 13, or do you try a quick 15-20 yarder Ahmad to get Pete Stoyanovich back out there?
There are quite a few options here. I think that they try to get in position to try to kick a field goal.
It appears that way, with 4 wide receivers setting up and Jensen in the backfield for Marino. From the 45 of Buffalo, the 3rd time in their first 5 drives they started in Bill territory. Marino going to the sideline. They have timeouts. And he hits his wide receiver, Mark Duper.
Mark Duper told me, playing for the first time in 2 years without an injury and talking to a lot of guys on his team, including Don Shula, they say Duper has got that quickness back. All of a sudden, he has that explosive speed that he had a couple of years ago, but he's been hurt so much in the last couple of years. This is the first time that he really feels well. Now, we talked about Miami trying to get in a situation just to get some points, and that's exactly what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to go for the field goal.
So Stoyanovich will try to put them up by better than 2 touchdowns before they head to the halftime locker room. He is perfect so far this season. 2 of 2 last week in the win over the Patriots. 2 of 2 so far in the first half today.
This is a no-pressure kick. I guess I can say that because I'm sitting way up here away from the field. But, I mean, if you make it, it's great. If you miss it, well, it was too far and there's only 7 seconds left. So I don't think, in terms of kickers always being under pressure, I think this is maybe a little less pressure than anything hinging on the game here.
It'll be a 48-yard attempt for Pete Stoyanovich. He had a 59-yarder last year. It's on its way, and it's good. What a half for Miami. Tony Martin set it up with that good return.
There's Don Shula watching that ball. Marino, they're all yelling yes. This is the way you become a part of a football team when you're a kicker. Go out there and nail a couple 48-yarders.
It's a very emotional game for the Miami Dolphins after what happened to them in their season opener against the Buffalo Bills last year. Thurman Thomas told us that they watched that film from last year's game. He's sure that the Miami Dolphins did it as well.
I'm always amazed at how a guy so little has such a big leg. Little guy like that nailing that ball from that far. And, you know, he takes his, you know what, he's talking about kickers not getting hit. All the time he slapped him all in the head, pounded him on the shoulders.
Stoyanovich good from the 23-29, and the last one from 48 yards out. Martin with a good return, and then the quick pass to Mark Duper. The Dolphins doing everything right. It is rare when you are able to shut out the Buffalo Bills in even 30 minutes of play. It appears that the Dolphins are about to accomplish that, though.
Do they, you know what comes to mind now? Do they have any kickers in the league named Smith or Jones? You know, there's always a real long name.
The squib kick is taken by Butch Roll. The backup tight end protecting it. And we have completed the first half of play. What an emotional outpouring from this crowd at Joe Robbie Stadium.
The Dolphins are trying to get where the Bills were last year, and they've shown today that they are ready to play, at least the first half.
It's halftime in Miami. Let's go to New York now and check in with Bob Costas at NFL Live.
All right, Joel and Ahmad, thanks very much. With the Dolphins leading 16-0, Bob Costas back, along with Will McDonough and O.J. Simpson. We'll give you all the scores and some of the highlights during this halftime segment. The Jets are pounding the Browns. The Bears have the lead over the Packers. We'll tell you all about it when we come back after this message from the National Football League.
This is the most important line on the field. It's the goal line. Now I've got a play that's going to work magic every time we score. I know you're all counting on me. I know every touchdown makes a difference to each and every one of you. We're all part of this club, and we're all part of this team, and most important, we're all part of this community. I'll show you how it works. This is a magical play. Watch and see. Since I teamed up with United Way, for every touchdown I scored during the season, a special group of corporations have pledged to make contributions to help kids cope with tough problems they face growing up in our society today. So far, that's meant more than $47,000 to United Way. I want to thank the people of Buffalo who give to United Way, and especially the corporate leaders who are members of my Jim Kelly United Way End Zone Club. United Way is a great way to give and a great way to care. United Way brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Okay, we're back, and let's take you through all the scores in the game. Some of you are watching Miami with the 16-0 lead over Buffalo at home. They're trying to establish that ground game. That's something Shula has coveted for the past several years to take some of the heat off Dan Marino. Now, here you'll see them stop the Buffalo ground game. On the Buffalo drive, Big Larry Kinnebrew denied on the 4th down play. Miami takes over. Then they take off on a long, time-consuming drive. And Sammy Smith, who had 159 yards last week, caps it on the 4th down plunge from inside the 1. They kept the ball better than 9 minutes and drove 71 yards in 15 plays. Stoyanovich has the 3 field goals, and they lead 16-0. Atlanta is at Detroit. Rodney Peete has thrown 2 touchdown passes for the Lions, who were upset at home last week by Tampa Bay. Chris Miller has a 10-yard throw to the newly acquired Andre Rison for a Falcon touchdown. Detroit 14 and Atlanta 7 late in the second. Chicago has the lead over Green Bay at Lambeau Field, 17-7. Neil Anderson with a 1-yard touchdown run, and Jim Harbaugh just scrambled 2 yards for a score. The Bears, who were swept by the Packers last year, lead by 10 in this one. The Jets are pounding Cleveland by a score of 24-7. Not a happy homecoming for Bud Carson, who used to be the Jets' defensive coordinator. It started out well for him, though. Here's Eric Metcalf fielding the game's opening kickoff at the 2. Last week, Metcalf was critical of his own play against Pittsburgh. Well, he looks to atone by speeding 98 yards for the TD, and it looked like the Browns were in business, leading 7-0. But the rookie Blair Thomas and the veteran Freeman McNeil have each had outstanding games out of the backfield for the Jets. And the Jets are able to come right back. Here's McNeil cutting over the middle as he makes a nice catch. Make it Blair Thomas on this one. We'll get to McNeil in a minute. There's Blair Thomas, the rookie out of Penn State. That set up a touchdown run by Freeman McNeil of 2 yards. Now here's McNeil coming out of the backfield and scampering down the sidelines. He almost gets the touchdown. He's pushed out, but it leads to a Brad Baxter touchdown run of a yard, and the Jets have the lead at 24-7. This one is late in the second quarter. Jim Everett is in the groove. He's thrown 3 touchdown passes at Tampa Bay. Vinny Testaverde has a 48-yarder to Bruce Hill, but L.A. leads over the Bucs 28-7. In the game, some of you are watching New England and Indianapolis. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from the Hoosier Dome. The oldest starting quarterback in the league, Steve Grogan, against the #1 draft choice, the rookie Jeff George. Watch this play. The Colts gamble on 4th and goal. Albert Bentley loses the ball, but on a replay review, they said he had possession long enough, broke the plane of the end zone. It was ruled a touchdown and a 7-0 lead for Indianapolis. Then that lead is erased as Hartley Dykes makes the nice catch and some good moves. 27-yard reception for the touchdown from Grogan, and the game is knotted at 7 at halftime. Phoenix trailed Philadelphia at one time 14-0. Randall Cunningham has a touchdown pass and a 1-yard scoring run, but Johnny Johnson, the impressive rookie, went 22 yards on the ground for a TD for Phoenix just before halftime, so they close it up at Veterans Stadium 14-7. OJ, your thoughts?
Well,
I got a couple of calls this week. For me, that's not surprising when Miami plays the Buffalo Bills because it's a big rivalry. But this week, the talk was about the committee that Buffalo put together. You know, they put a committee between the players. Oh, can't hear me.
Wait a minute. They're telling us in the control room, tell Juice to put his mic on. But what is that on your tie if it's not a mic? Perhaps the guy in the control room should turn the microphone on. In any case, let's just air the dirty laundry right here in front of an astonished public. Juice, I think they've turned it on now.
Okay, so what we're talking about is a committee this week. That red flag that Buffalo has some problems up there. Football is not a democracy. You know, you got to have a, quote, well, I have a broken mic if you can read my lips.
Will, just try to use hand gestures in case your mic isn't working either.
Can I give him signs? Bob, what I saw out of the Miami game is this, you know, the last 2 years, Miami has been 27th and 28th, respectively, in rushing at the end of the year. This year, they're #1 right now for the first time since 1978. Also, the Browns are really struggling. They haven't scored an offensive touchdown yet this year. Bernie Kosar's been sacked 8 times in 3 quarters. I mean, 1 game and a half. And he's really struggling. Again, he's 17 for 41 passing so far in 6 quarters.
And now as we attempt to fix OJ's microphone problem, buddy, look, if we have to, we'll share. We'll just lean across on the next one. We'll send you back to the field for the start of the second half of the game you're watching, and we'll see you later.
Monday, NBC Premiere Week begins with the show the New York Post called this season's first hit. You'll laugh out loud, said the LA Daily News, and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Then, it's the best of the movies turned into series.
Somebody slapped me.
It's Ferris Bueller.
But not too hard to leave a red mark.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Ferris Bueller on NBC Premiere Monday.
I'll be just a minute. Max will keep you company.
Max.
How are you two getting along?
Great.
Max doesn't get along with just anyone. He stopped barking. Max must like you.
Where there's good food and good times, it's only natural. Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, Max, come here right now. Hey, Maxie, come here, you. Did he show you any of his tricks?
Play dead.
The 1990 Cadillac closeout with up to $3,250 in savings. Hurry or be closed out on up to $1,250 in factory-to-dealer incentives, plus up to $2,000 cash back. A brand new 1990 Cadillac with up to $3,250 in savings. So don't get closed out. Hurry to your Florida Cadillac dealer now.
Watch Scott and Wendy tonight on 2 News.
It's wide open. Yeah, it's wide open. But this is, who are we?
Dolphins on top of the Buffalo Bills, 16-0. I'm Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad. Over the first 30 minutes of play, the Dolphins looking more like the Bills than the Dolphins of old.
They really did. Coming into this game, we knew that the well-rounded attack belonged to the Buffalo Bills, and we didn't quite know about the Miami Dolphins. But in watching them today, like you said, Joel, it looked like they just switched personalities. Miami able to run the ball. Sammy Smith picking up where he left off last week. And I thought one of the neat things was once Miami got in a situation where they could either go for the field goal or try for the touchdown. And Shula at that point showed all the confidence in the world in his offensive line and his running situation, and they went for that touchdown, and they made it.
That was a confidence builder for the Miami Dolphins, no doubt about it, because it was 4th and inches just outside of the goal line, and it was Sammy Smith's number.
Led by Tony Page, who's the lead blocker, number 49. Sammy Smith just eludes Darryl Talley, the linebacker, and dives into the end zone. And the Miami Dolphins have just taken on from there. This team is so exciting. I guess if that was the big question, there had to be a little question. There had to be the defense.
And that is probably even more surprising than the performance and the ground attack of the Miami Dolphins in the first 30 minutes of play, coming up with the big plays defensively.
They really did, because if you have to try a defensive team like Buffalo that can run the ball and throw the ball so well, you really got your hands full. And watching this Miami defense today, they've played like they have not played in a lot of years here. Just a swarming, very smart defense that Shula has put together down here.
And looking ahead now to the second half, keys Ahmad for the Buffalo Bills to get Thurman Thomas involved even more?
I think so. They've got to get their running game going, because once you get your running game going, it establishes everything else. I think the Bills came in, they were out of sync. They started to throw the ball all the time. But in order to dominate, you've got to be able to run that ball. I think we're going to see the Bills come out and try to establish their ground game.
Well, last week, Don Shula said his team couldn't wait to get back out after the halftime intermission. I would apply that again this week because they played so well over the first 30 minutes.
Well, one thing you got to do, and the most important thing that all coaches deal with at halftime, is half-to-half improvement. This game is a 60-minute game. The Dolphins have got to come out and play better because I guarantee you that Buffalo is going to play a lot better.
Still plenty of time for the Buffalo Bills. Only a 16-point lead for the Miami Dolphins. That score at halftime once again. It's the Dolphins with a 16-point advantage over the Buffalo Bills. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie after these messages from your local stations.
Tuesday, the season premiere of Matlock, Sex and Murder. Will Ben betray a client to win his toughest case?
Doesn't look good.
Then the 2-hour premiere of In the Heat of the Night, a woman's giving birth to twins. Her husband is being framed.
There's an accomplice to murder.
And crooked cops want him dead. Two great premieres, Matlock and In the Heat of the Night on NBC Tuesday.
The human heart. Understanding how it works and what happens when it breaks down requires the skill of world-class physicians. The University of Florida cardiologists and cardiovascular surgeons, together with a team of healthcare professionals, they're helping people live healthier every day. For more information, consult your physician or call the Shands Cardiovascular Center in Gainesville at 1-800-PHYSICIAN.
The Cosby Show, now weekday afternoons at 4 on Florida's 2.
Halftime numbers indicate the domination by the Miami Dolphins in a model. A lot of people discount time of possession, but for Miami today, that is very important. They keep Kelly and his offensive unit with Thurman Thomas off the field.
I think the thing that's important in time of possession is first downs. And as you look at it, the Dolphins have 10 to the Buffalo Bills 4. So not only has Miami been able to keep the ball a long time, but they've been able to do something with it. You look at the Dolphins also leading in terms of rushing 48 to 29 and also passing 99 to 42. And most importantly, they've got 16 points up on the board to Buffalo's 0.
The Miami Dolphins so far very productive on their first snap every series. Better than 5 yards per try.
And they've done it a lot with their running offense. And in years past, they've always had pretty good production on the first down plays, but it's always been some pass play. Now, all of a sudden, they've established it. Marino can ice that arm a little bit, rest it a little bit, because he has a lot of help in his running game. I talked to him before the game. He said that we don't need for Sammy to get 159 yards every single game, but if he can get 70 or an 80, it really gives our offense a totally different look, and we feel like we're a lot more effective because you got to look out for our run.
Even though the Dolphins won last week, Marino was not happy with his performance, throwing for better than 250 yards. He also threw 3 interceptions.
Well, when we talked yesterday at practice, we talked about as you grow and mature, the only thing that's important to a football player is if you win or lose, and they did win that game last week, and Dan is happy about that. Once you win, you drop that game no matter how you play, and you move on to the next one.
He's kicking it away. It'll be taken by Mark Logan for the Dolphins to start the second half at his own 3-yard line. And Logan taking a big hit from Hal Garner, reserve linebacker, for a 20-yard return. And here we go.
Well, we have a Bud Grant used to call that chicken fight. First of all, when you get in a fight, you can't hurt anybody, so I guess you sort of just jostle back and forth.
The Dolphins get it to start the second half. This is the worst field position to start a drive so far today for Miami. 3 of their first 5 series in the first half started in Buffalo territory. The Bills 36, 24, and 45-yard lines.
A man we haven't heard much from is Mark Clayton, who didn't play last week. He is their big play receiver. I'm sure that they're going to try to get him the ball this half.
The misdirection to Sammy Smith. And on first down, he gets close to 3. You mentioned Mark Clayton. A lot of people forget how consistent he has been for Miami over the last 6 seasons, with more receiving yardage than any other receiver in the NFL. And his TD reception, second only Jerry Rice of the 49ers.
Mark Clayton is a big play receiver, and he's also one of the best receivers in football. That consistency, I think, is the mark of a pro, a real pro. A lot of guys can go out and do it every now and then. Mark Clayton has been able to do it week to week for the past few years.
Second, just about 8 for the Dolphins. Outside their own 23. Gentlemen, we were talking about Clayton in motion. Mark Logan, carry, stacked up, crossing the 25 to 26. Seals and Bennett combining on that hit. We have not heard that much from Cornelius Bennett so far this afternoon, changing his number from last season to the old jersey he wore at Alabama, number 97.
Well, Cornelius Bennett has been preoccupied with a blocker in his face the entire time. There's Bennett, number 97. He gets by the first block, and he's in on that tackle.
So now 3rd and 4 with the ball at the 27 for Miami. 4 wide receivers setting up for Marino. Jensen in the backfield. The short one and a completion for a first down. There's Mark Clayton coming up with a big catch.
It's only a matter of time before Mark Clayton gets loose. Mark Clayton in the slot just leans into the defensive back and breaks it to the outside, showing a fine pair of hands with that catch. Cornelius Bennett here. Watch this flying start he takes. He tries to get up underneath, and he's just buried. That's an excellent job there by Mark Dennis.
So the Dolphins with their 11th first down so far. Sammy Smith on the pitch, into the secondary, and into Buffalo territory. Flags down, though, back at the line of scrimmage. This could nullify another huge gain on the ground. They had one wiped out from Mark Logan for 18 yards on a penalty.
Sammy Smith is going to stretch this defense out and then break back up this way. When you got a guy with that much speed and that much power, once he starts to turn that ball up the field, watch him stretch the defense out, finds a hole, cuts it back inside. Now he's at his best. He's going forward, leaning forward, and now watch him take these would-be tacklers with him for a little bit of a ride.
Repeat the down. First down.
It was a great run, and hopefully they'll try to get back for that. Sammy Smith taking a little breather on the sideline.
That is the 4th holding call now against Don Shula's Dolphins. Stratford coming into the game for the first time. Those mistakes really have to trouble the coach after such a positive pickup by Sammy Smith. There's Stratford.
Just activated a couple of days ago, and talking to these Buffalo Bill coaches, Marv Levy said that this guy scares him.
He's got it in the flat. That's what he's done so well over the last couple of seasons for Miami. It was 2 years ago that he caught 56 Marino passes. In the second half of last year, though, with a knee injury.
Great play there by number 46, Leonard Smith, slowing him down, because once he gets out in the open field, that's where he's at his best. He broke out in the open field that time, and Leonard Smith, number 46, just sort of stayed with him, and was the first guy to make the hit. A little swing pass over here. He's got the ball. Watch Leonard Smith not get faked out, makes the first hit on him, slows him down, and enables Odom to make the tackle.
2nd and long due to that holding call. Logan, the only one in the backfield, as Marino is adjusting and audibilizing at the line on 2nd and 17. Stepping up and going deep. He had Mark Duper. Duper working against Nate Odom, the corner on that side.
Duper, a world-class sprinter, had a step, but Marino just put the ball just a little bit too far. Watch Marino. Now, at the top of your screen, you're going to see Bruce Smith come flying by. Marino steps inside, lets the ball go, and Seals still there to hurry that pass off. You see Duper, number 85, has got a step. Ball just thrown a little bit too far. Also down there in the coverage is Mark Kelso. Kind of funny the other day, Marv Levy. And Mark Kelso's a very unassuming guy. And he was the first guy that Marv Levy met when he took over his job. And he said, geez, I see that guy. I know why you're losing. He's got that Superman complex. He comes to play on Sunday.
3rd and 17, Marino behind his intended target, Tony Martin. The Dolphins pick up 1 first down, but will now have to punt it away. There's 12 completions for Dan Marino, going to 10 different receivers, as he's now 12 of 20. Chris Hale waiting for the punt from Reggie Roby. Roby, one of the best in the NFL for many years, in his 8th year out of Iowa.
And one of the few professional football players that always knows what time it is. You look on his left wrist, he wears that watch all the time.
Interesting style, the way he gets it so high. This is a line drive effort, though. And Hale will have it back at the 15. Blocks for Hale. Flags down to the play, though. As Hale is down at the 35. Most likely an illegal block. It's David Griggs. Came up to make the stop on special teams.
Mr. Hobley, number 29, for the Dolphins, appeared to be blocked from, or pushed from the back, and that was the penalty.
You can tag the referee today.
Illegal block on the return. Number 42, 10-yard penalty.
So the Bills get it for the first time in the second half. They'll have it when we return at their own 22-yard line, down by 16.
No matter where you look, there's Mazda. We're introducing new products like the Miata, setting new sales records, winning the respect of the automotive press, and winning awards for both quality and customer satisfaction. But most important, we're making thousands of people feel just right.
It's more than just a game.
17!
And if you play your cards right,
20!
you could win it all.
25! 25? I won! With that lineup? Yeah! Yeah!
Play Diet Coke Super Bowl lineup, and you could win up to $25,000. Game pieces and caps only on packages with Super Bowl lineup emblems.
Tough luck, Boomer.
Collect and win or win instantly.
Hey, a Super Bowl trip!
With 100% NutraSweet.
You've been up in the air for hours. Now you gotta make up the time. Aren't you glad Hertz has a faster, easier way to rent a car? #1 Club Gold. No paperwork, no stopping at counters, nothing to slow you down.
Hertz, we're America's wheels.
You go straight to our Gold parking area, where your car is waiting, ready to go.
I'm gonna make it.
Hertz,
It's the fastest way to rent a car.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. By Diet Coke with 100% NutraSweet. You'll drink it just for the taste of it. And by Hertz. We never forget who made us #1. We're Hertz. We're America's wheels.
Bills have it now for the first time in the second half. First and 10 at their own 22-yard line. Kelly looking for the screen. Late developing one that never gets underway for Thurman Thomas. And just before we broke away, that punt by Reggie Roby that traveled 56 yards.
Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas not on the same page, but watch this block coming up right here by number 45, Dwight Drain. He's going to drop block number 29, Lifford Hobley, right there. That's awful questionable. That's awful close. Awful close, and that causes Marv Levy some concern. And he's just quietly telling that official how he feels about it.
Quietly, because we can't hear it all the way up here.
I almost heard him.
Second and 10 at the 22. Kelly with ample time. He'll run it with plenty of room for a first down. Kelly all the way up to the 34-yard line. John Offerdahl finally getting over.
Miami's defense doing a great job of cooling down this Buffalo offense. And Buffalo, and speaking of cooling, Cornelius Bennett told the other day, he said, I know it's going to be hot, but we brought down some air conditioning. And as you see, he's taking advantage of that. We've got some air conditioners with a big fan in front of it blowing that cool air.
First time the Buffalo Bills have ever traveled with equipment like that, bringing down 2 of those cooling units. trying to cool off the Dolphins. 1st and 10 from the 34. Kelly has Lofton. It's complete in Dolphin territory. Taking a shot in the process from Lewis Oliver, who knows how to deliver those kind of blows.
Watch James Lofton run this breaking pattern. And this is just called a break-in. Lofton running a great pattern coming across. Now, the key to this is that ball's got to hit you on the chest. The worst thing you want to do is lean forward on a pass like that. That's when the defensive back can give you a lick on the chin. But when you have to jump up like that and catch it in your chest, your entire body is protected, and you're able to make the catch and take the blow. James Lofton, after all these years, has not slowed down very much.
20 yards on the completion. Thurman Thomas trying to turn it outside. Loses it. Loose ball picked up by Miami. David Griggs on the fumble recovery.
David Griggs on the takeaway. He just took that ball out of Thurman Thomas's hands and fell on it. Thurman Thomas trying to find room to run. And Marv Levy, these are things that really upset him. Well, watch the play. Watch number 92, David Griggs, come up to make the stop. He gets a backhand on the ball, snaps it out, and falls on the recovery. Miami just coming up with big play after big play.
That is the 3rd turnover now by the Buffalo Bills. Miami gets it back to their own 49-yard line. Sammy Smith almost breaking that last ankle tackle. He gets close to 4 to the 47-yard line of Buffalo. Jeff Wright with the stop. Give the Hurts 10-minute ticker. Detroit by 14, while Chicago maintains a 7-point advantage for the Packers.
How about those Jets?
They were strong last week against the Bengals before finally succumbing.
Well, they're certainly strong all of a sudden in the 3rd quarter. And the Rams getting off to a very good start against Tampa Bay, 35-7.
And Phoenix has to be surprising people. Still tied right now with Philadelphia at Veterans Stadium. 2nd and 7. Marino with time. The design roll. The comeback from Mark Clayton. And it's a 1st down to the 31.
We were talking to Marino yesterday about his quickness. He said, you know, I don't have any quickness running forward and backwards, but you let me go side to side, and I'm as quick as anybody in the league. Watch him come firing out from underneath that center. And when a quarterback does this, it gives the receiver a chance to run the route. There's Clayton. He has a defensive back turned all around, and that's a pretty easy reception like that. A great pattern, a great play by the quarterback and the wide receiver.
Clayton had a 16-yard average, leading the Dolphins in receptions last year. Took in his 2nd. And now it's 1st and 10. Sammy Smith wrapped up in the backfield by Leon Seals.
And the first one there is Bruce Smith. The ever-present Bruce Smith. You can run, but you can't hide from this fella. Bruce Smith with a nice quick move, gets inside the offender, and just first one in on the tackle.
Bruce told us yesterday he watches tons and tons of footage of the offensive linemen that he's going to be going up with from week to week. He says, I don't have a chance to watch too much regular TV. I watch a lot of film.
And the offensive linemen, he says, do not have names. He watches them by their ability only.
Mark Logan, the only one in the backfield, loss of a yard. First time there's been negative yardage today for the Miami Dolphins out of the backfield. Logan with a huge hole over to the left side, rambling for a 1st down inside the 20. Kelso and Hale with the stop in the secondary.
I think it was more Hale than Kelso. Kelso got put flat on his back on that play. If you watch this real quick hitting play, Logan hits that line of scrimmage going 100 miles an hour. Watch number 38 come up and try to make the tackle. He gets leveled, boy. And Hale comes in and finishes it off.
Logan again maintaining his balance on 1st down. 8 yards on that carry.
This Miami offensive line is firing off of that ball. They are just creating so much space up front, and Mark Logan, with his quickness, is able to take advantage of it. Very quick offense. They're back on the ball.
No huddle for Logan and the Dolphins. Logan carrying tacklers inside the 5 where it's 1st and goal. Taking a page out of the Bills playbook.
Last year up in Buffalo, the Buffalo Bills just put a knockout punch on the Miami Dolphins, and it looks like they are paying him back here in this game right now, because when you see running backs running free like that, it's all offensive line. Miami's offensive line is playing great.
Logan gets it again, but is hit in the backfield again by Leon Seals.
John Sandusky, Miami's offensive line coach, says he's got a good young group. And as we see him play today, we realize that they certainly do have a good young group. And Shula, in one of the happier moments of his entire time down here, because he has a running attack now.
5:35 left in the third. Dolphins on 2nd and goal. Logan trying to bounce it outside. Squirts for the 1-yard line. Just inside that 1-yard line.
John Shula, there's no question what that means when he pounds both hands together. They're trying to push this ball in.
So 3rd and goal coming up. The crowd on its feet at Joe Robbie Stadium. Like many of you around the country, they probably can't believe what they're seeing. A ground attack for the first time in many seasons for the Miami Dolphins.
Give that credit to that charging offensive line.
Page, Smith in the backfield. Jensen goes in motion. It's Sammy Smith. Is he in? Yes! Touchdown Miami! The Dolphins up by 22 as Stoyanovich tries to make it 23. And he has helped the cause with 3 field goals so far this afternoon. It is a huge lead now for Miami.
As an offensive team, when you get down in this area, it's all about just wanting to get in there. Sammy Smith takes this deep pitch. He's able to make his choice of where he wants to run, and he hits that goal line going 100 miles an hour, and they get the touchdown.
A 9-play, 51-yard drive for the Dolphins.
Help! Mother! I'm melting! It's hot! It's melting! Save it!
Nothing refreshes quite like the real cola taste of Diet Coke. With 100% NutraSweet.
Hey, where's Boomer? Guys!
He stirs in the land of dawning. He stirs now in the age of wandering. Now on the trail of beauty, he stirs.
The new Navajo from Mazda. It just feels right.
This soap, they say the little people put a spell on it so the scent of it could last a man clean through the day. Capture the last incentive. Irish spring deodorant soap. The Irish never quit.
There's a new attitude at Northwest Airlines, a new dedication to service. You can see it in our on-time performance, the best of the top 7 U.S. airlines. That's our commitment, to make sure you're on time for your commitments.
Jorge Paez, boxing's most outrageous character. He has defeated all challengers to his featherweight throne. Now he steps up in weight class. Tony the Tiger Lopez. He puts his title on the line against the talented Paez. 2 world champions collide for the IBF Junior Lightweight Championship next weekend on NBC.
Sammy Smith just vaulted over from the 1-yard line, his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And that balance, Ahmad, we were talking about earlier with the Buffalo Bills, ever present today for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, the Dolphins are happy for 2 reasons. Not only the fact that they scored, but the way they scored. They just took that ball and pounded it at the Buffalo defense.
Don Beebe and Don Smith waiting for the kickoff from a healthy Pete Stoyanovich. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. Well, how did Don Shula feel after that 3rd and goal call?
There's a happy grandpa right there.
We'll be right back to Miami. The Bills down by 23.
It's more than just a game.
17!
And if you play your cards right,
20!
you could win it all.
25! 25? I won! With that lineup? Yeah! Yeah!
Play Diet Coke Super Bowl lineup, and you could win up to $25,000. Game pieces and caps only on packages with Super Bowl lineup emblems.
Tough luck, Boomer.
Collect and win or win instantly.
Hey, a Super Bowl trip!
With 100% NutraSweet.
Haven't we met somewhere before? The Mazda Miata.
It just feels right.
The Shillings were burned out of their home. They called me. I'm their State Farm agent, Bill Clulo. Right away, I teamed up with a State Farm claims representative. I gave him all the information he needed, and Tom got to work fast.
I made sure they were in comfortable quarters, gave them emergency money to live on, and got their claims started fast.
Now the Shillings know a big reason why State Farm insures more homes than anyone else.
State Farm teamwork helps you get back in your home fast.
State Farm is there.
Wednesday, NBC Premiere Week continues. Will the finale survive Anthony's one-night stand?
Morning, everybody.
The top-rated new comedy this season. The Finale Boys. Then, hold on, will John get lucky this year?
Hello, gorgeous. Yes!
It's the season premiere of Dear John.
Lucky.
After the Finale Boys on NBC Wednesday.
It has been a long time since the Miami scoring drive has shown 8 rushes and only 1 pass covering 51 yards, but we just saw it. The Dolphins lead by 23. Thurman Thomas getting it on 1st and 10.
We talked about, there's John Sandusky talking to Don Shula. He is just a delightful man to be around. I've known him for quite some time. He had a picture in the paper with his young lineman the other day, and he was just as proud as he could be.
Kelly working with the no huddle for Andre Reed. And it's incomplete. Skipped in. 4 minutes, 9 seconds left in the 3rd quarter.
Andre Reed, one of the players that Kelly's going to have to get the ball to try to get this offense on track.
3rd and 8 now. Kelly from the 22. And throwing it way wide of James Lofton. Good coverage in the secondary as well. J.B. Brown was right there with help from Rodney Thomas.
Marv Levy, as frustrated as Jim Kelly is at this point, because the Dolphins have just been really putting it to him. They have not let up on the pressure. We talked about half-to-half improvement, and the Dolphins have gotten that so far.
Dolphins are ready to get it back, barring a turnover. Neese with a low returnable type for Tony Martin. And he's forced out by Tasker. In plus territory if you're a Miami fan. The Buffalo Bills 46-yard line. So when we come back for the 4th time this afternoon, the Dolphins will start a drive in Bills territory.
For naming the Mazda MPV best in class, we'd like to thank Car and Driver. For ranking it the most trouble-free minivan, J.D. Power & Associates. For naming it one of the top 10 import buys, Motor Trend. And for making the Mazda MPV the best-selling import minivan, we'd like to thank the Abbotts, the Ackermans, the Adisheks, the Ackermans,
Mazda, it just feels right.
the Altons, the Ammermans, the Andersons.
I'm going to review today's scores very briefly.
No. 86, 94, 92, and 1 hieroglyph. That's before we got to the back 9.
I didn't think anybody was keeping score.
Column, right? It says here that on the 3rd hole you hit, I don't know, you
A 90-yard putt.
Let's go. I do. It wasn't a flash.
Levi's 100% cotton Dockers. If they're not Dockers, they're just pants.
Oh, there you go! Toss me the towel, please, Darnell.
It's new. Speed Stick deodorant now has its most powerful combination of ingredients ever. Its stronger new formula delivers more defense against odor. It has no alcohol. Its protection doesn't fade. Speed Stick, new stronger formula.
When this is the feeling of shaving, nothing feels better after. After aftershave skin conditioner.
Marino. LT. The Miami Air Machine. And the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. The Dolphins battle the Giants. Next Sunday.
Winning the war of field position, so critical. And that's exactly what the Miami Dolphins have done today. Not only doing it off the defense, but picking up turnovers as well.
And take a look at those results. Touchdown, field goal, one punt, field goal, touchdown.
6 of their first 7 starting in great field position. And now they're starting their 8th at the 45-yard line of Buffalo. Sammy Smith getting 3 on the carry.
It is just obvious that this training camp has helped Sammy Smith tremendously. And you think about last year, there were a lot of questions about his ability, but he came in so late, he didn't have a chance to really learn the offense. As you watch him now making running decisions, he seems to always be making the running decisions, right ones, and the only way you can do that is with the reps that you get during the course of training camp, preseason games, knowing what your offensive linemen are going to do, and Sammy capitalizing on that.
He's running behind a very, very young offensive line that he's going to be growing up with now in his NFL career. Mark Logan takes over in the backfield. 2nd and 7, the ball at the 42. Logan out of the backfield. They're short of the first down by a yard. Leonard Smith in on the hit. Detroit giving up a touchdown. Atlanta within 7 now as Chicago still clings to that 7-point lead. The Jets still surprising everybody. Way up on top of Cleveland.
Surprising everybody, especially Cleveland.
2:15, clock moving. Left in the 3rd. Talking about that young offensive line. Webb, the left tackle's a rookie. Sims, a rookie. The left guard, Uhlenhake, the 2nd-year man, is the center. The 3rd-year right guard is Harry Galbraith. And the 4th year, the senior lineman, Mark Dennis, has only got 27. This is his 28th start today. His flags are up in the air. A dead ball foul coming up, most likely against the Miami Dolphins. So a lot of positives to play off of. Under Sandusky, the offensive coordinator, and Don Shula.
False start, offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 3rd down.
Well, when you got a guy in front of you like Bruce Smith all game, I think you tend to flinch every now and then. You see number 78, Richmond Webb, just a little bit quick off the ball, but he's trying everything. He goes up. You know, that's what you got to do when you got a great player in front of you. You can't try to block him the same way every time. Sometimes you take him high. Other times you try a little trick. Other times you try to block him down at the knees. And Webb that time just a little bit quick off the ball, causing that offsides penalty.
Instead of 3rd and 1 now. A little bit better than 6. 3rd and 6 for Miami. Marino going for his wide out. Fred Banks showed great hands pulling it in with Kirby Jackson right on his back.
There was a quarterback that I used to watch now as a colleague of mine named Joe Namath that used to throw balls just like this. Fred Banks doesn't even have to put his hands up to catch this ball. It's right there. Right there where he can make that grab. Just a great throw and a great catch. Fred Banks having a great game with only 2 receptions for 32 yards, but they've been big receptions.
Under a minute left in the 3rd quarter. And another first down for Miami in Buffalo territory. The Bills 33. Clayton's the motion man. As Smith gets it. Reversing his field. Sammy Smith inside the 20. Another Dolphin first down.
Sammy Smith right here is going to take this ball right in here, find his blocking, break it out to the outside, and then start breaking tackles on his way down the field. Once he starts going forward, this young fella is a load. Just a little drop step. Now watch him break it back to the left here. Great move. Gets rid of two people at one time. Now once he starts going forward, he is very tough to stop. And you notice everybody's going after the ball.
The third quarter comes to a conclusion with a 15-yard ramble by Sammy Smith. The Dolphins doing everything right. As we'll return to Miami after these messages from your local station.
Tonight, a special Unsolved Mysteries. Evidence of life after death from people who actually died. A special edition Unsolved Mysteries at 8, 7 Central on NBC tonight.
We're here on Easter Island to introduce the monumental new Isuzu Stylus. How does it compare to the Toyota Camry? Let's see what the gods think. The Stylus, with its Lotus Tune suspension, handles better. Yet the Toyota costs hundreds more. The gods aren't too crazy about that. The new Isuzu Stylus. At just $11,299, there's no comparison.
See your Isuzu dealer now and take a look at the new Isuzu Stylus.
It's here, so go wild. Get your Domino's Deluxe Pizza Feast, pan or original, with 5 delicious toppings for $9.99. And get another one for only $4 more. Domino's will be there before you know it.
It's time for Domino's Pizza.
Call now.
Call Domino's Pizza now for the Deluxe Pizza Feast with pepperoni, sausage, onions, green peppers, and mushrooms. Buy a medium original Deluxe Feast for $9.99 and get a second Deluxe for just $4 more plus tax. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Our customer wanted to offer full-service banking at every branch. And with Southern Bell's central office-based services, we helped him do that without adding personnel.
But that's only one side of the story. It takes more than technology alone. When it's my customer, I try to help him make his operations more productive overall.
If we can tie a bank's offices together into one system, imagine what we can do for your business. Southern Bell, the one to turn to.
The Golden Girls, this fall at 4:30 on Florida's 2.
The balance has been there today, but it hasn't been from the Buffalo Bills. It's been from the Miami Dolphins. Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. A 23-point lead for the Dolphins, and they're looking for more right now. So we begin the fourth and final 15 minutes. First and 10 for Miami at the 17.
And that's what we talked about at the beginning of the game. That all-around rushing passing, and the edge is to Miami. It's a huge edge.
Marino to Tony Page. Does he take it? Yes! Touchdown Miami!
Tony Page is still doing his end zone dance, and I think you've just been penalized for it. But if you've scored as many touchdowns as he has, which is exactly 2 in the last few years, I guess you can go ahead and celebrate. And I've been calling Tony Page the last 2 days, touchdown Tony Page, and shoot, that moniker might stick. 17-yard touchdown reception. A great catch, and once he caught that ball, he just turned it up the field and ran over anybody in his way, getting into that end zone, and then he ran over everybody so he could dance.
Page was an outstanding receiver during his college days at Virginia Tech. He's showing it over this year for the Miami Dolphins. Stoyanovich drills it for the uprights for the extra point. A touchdown for Tony Page, his second in as many weeks. And the Miami Dolphins about to raise their record to 2-0 for the first time to get out of the blocks that fast since '82.
Eclipses once appeared only in the heavens, but now eclipses are appearing on Car and Driver's 10 Best list and Automobile Magazine's All-Star list. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Nothing beats the USA. Nothing beats what we've got here. Nothing beats clean, crisp, cold. Nothing beats the king of beer. Yeah, nothing beats a birthday, nothing. Nothing beats a birthday, nothing. Nothing beats a Budweiser. Nothing
Mitsubishi Montero is car and driver's best buy among sport utilities under $20,000. They call it, quite aptly, an uncommonly civilized vehicle. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
180, 848, 88, 88.
Isn't that Super 8 Motel's 800 number?
Super room, super price, Super 8.
Buy 10 rolls of pink insulation, R13 or higher, to keep you warm indoors, and get a free NFL coach's sweater to keep you warm outdoors. Offer ends October 14th.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mitsubishi, bringing you a full line of award-winning automobiles. See them all at your Mitsubishi Motors dealer. By ITT Corporation, building people's dreams. And by Levi's 505, 506, and 540 jeans.
Clouds in the background, but nothing cloudy about the picture for the Miami Dolphins at the outset of the season. They lead it by 30 as Stoyanovich gets into it. Beebe and Don Smith waiting for the Bills. It'll be Beebe at their 3. Don Beebe down the sideline, stepping out of bounds at the 30. Let's look back a moment on that touchdown by Tony Page.
This is why they call this a misdirection play. Here's Tony Page. Here's Sammy Smith. All the direction is going this way. The offensive line, everybody's going this way. Watch number 56, Darryl Talley, who's been blocked all game long by Tony Page. 56, Darryl Talley. He comes down. Everybody's going the other way. Marino rolls out to the left. Page doesn't block. He gets into the pattern, catches the ball, and just runs over everybody into the end zone. That's why they call that a misdirection play.
Kelly out of the shotgun, down by 30, has Thurman Thomas. And he's out of bounds at the 44-yard line.
Dan Marino, knowing that that touchdown play was a good one, he gives a touchdown and a little let's go. Now let's watch number 78, Bruce Smith, who's thinking the play is coming at him, but he should know now they're not going to run at him.
Kelly with plenty of time gets Andre Reed, but he was stopped at the original line of scrimmage by James Williams.
Miami is just giving the Buffalo Bills that play that they like to run to Andre Reed, where he comes underneath. They have stopped it cold the entire game.
There's 14-17 left in the fourth at Miami. Before we return, let's go to Bob Costas in New York.
Joel, the Cleveland Browns have their first offensive touchdown of the year. Bernie Kosar getting on track, hits Reggie Langhorne, who tumbles in. The play covers 4 yards, caps a 10-play, 61-yard drive. They're back within 10 and still plenty of time left, trailing 24-14.
Thank you, Bob. The last time the Buffalo Bills were blanked, it was by the Miami Dolphins, December of 1985. Right now, still being shut out with 14-17 left in the fourth. There's the Bills' all-time leading receiver, Andre Reed, fortunately back up.
That is a good sign for the Buffalo Bills. Andre Reed, one of their more important players. All-pro receiver. Looks like he hurt his neck a little bit, but I think he's fine. He was ready to go back to play. He tried to go back to the huddle, but they told him he's got to sit out a play first. I'm sure we'll see him back.
Second and long, call it 2nd and 9 now for the Bills at their own 45. Kelly's got James Lofton. And Lofton's got a Buffalo first down to the 38-yard line. Well, if a team can be smarting from a loss last year, I guess you could say it's the Miami Dolphins, where they lost 31-17 at Buffalo because the Bills just blew them off the ball. 280 yards on the ground for the Bills as Kelly overshoots his back, Don Smith. And in talking to the defensive coordinator, Ahmad, we were talking to Tom Olivagati of the Miami Dolphins. He said, without a doubt, that was their worst game of the entire season.
Well, on the other side, you talk to Buffalo, and they say that was their best game. So, I mean, and it showed in the score.
Kelly throwing on 2nd and 10. Thurman Thomas has it near the first down marker. The 29-yard line.
And the Dolphins now just trying not to give up that big play. And in doing so, playing that loose defense,
There's the Dolphins defensive coordinator.
Tom Olividotti. I said his name. I used to have trouble saying that, Olividotti.
Smith showing the concentration to hang on to it.
And Olividotti's defense they're just playing loose, trying to let them catch the ball underneath and then punish him with the tackle, but they don't just want to give up the play, give up one big play right away and let them score too quickly.
On first down, Kelly about to go down. He is. He's in the grasp. And it's the second sack of the day for the Miami Dolphins. This one belonging to Lifford Hobley.
Lifford Hobley coming with the blitz. You see Jim Kelly here looking downfield, and before he can get rid of this ball, watch Lifford Hobley just come in, put the pressure on, and makes that sack. Thurman Thomas is the receiver that's responsible for blocking Hobley. We're not able to pull that off.
And good news for Bills fans. Andre Reed is back in the game with 4 wide receivers on 2nd and long. Kelly's got Reed. With a flag down to the play, it's complete to the 1-yard line.
And the flag has to be against McCarr. Don Beebe was undressed over here on the right side of the field. If you look at him, he's still trying to get his jersey back together. Got a holding call. Got a feeling it's got to be. Anytime you see a holding call and you see a receiver putting his jersey back on, pretty good indication that the
holding. Defense number 22. Penalty is declined. First down.
Now you watch Tim McCarr, who is an excellent defensive back, and he just takes a chance here. Beebe trying to get inside, and there's the hole right there.
First and goal for the Bills. The Dolphin 1-yard line. Kennebrew. Does he get in? He's stacked up just short of the goal line. Carl Wilson in there for the Dolphins on the stop.
Lewis Oliver also coming up strong. That's where these big hitting defensive safeties come into play. Down on the goal line like this, if you can contain the running back for just a little while and give these guys a chance to come up and make the hit, that's when they come up and just unload on somebody. And Lewis Oliver calls himself the Hammer.
Thomas in there with Kennebrew in the backfield. It's Kennebrew, and the Bills are on the board. Buffalo avoiding their first shutout since 1985.
This is just football here. You see everybody getting that low stance and firing out. Give that ball to Big Brew and just have him hammer in there. He runs over Ken Hull on his way into the end zone. Big Kennebrew. Here's a man at 265 pounds who once beat Herschel Walker in a 100-yard dash in high school. I asked him what was the time. He won't tell me. But he is a bruiser.
Scott Norwood on for the point after. Comes out of the hold of Frank Reich, the backup quarterback. The Bills finally get their first points of the day. 11:45 left and trail it by 23. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami.
An eclipse was always a rare phenomenon, seen only once or twice in a lifetime. But ever since car and driver named the Mitsubishi Eclipse GS Turbo to its annual 10 best list, and ever since Automobile magazine put the all-wheel drive Eclipse GSX on its 1990 All-Star list, you see eclipses all the time. Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
In these uncertain times, the intelligent investor focuses on current trends, watches the economic indicators, analyzes the various business sectors, developing keen insights before making a single move on Wall Street. On the other hand, the extremely intelligent investor has someone else Help him do it. Prudential Beige Securities. Rock solid, market wise.
Monday, NBC Premiere Week begins with a show the New York Post called this season's first hit. You'll laugh out loud at Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, said the Daily News. Then, it's the premiere of Ferris Bueller.
I'm not going to tell George you clap more for Ferris than you clap for George.
I'm having a better year.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, then Ferris Bueller on NBC Premiere Monday.
It's been an overwhelming performance so far by the Miami Dolphins before just about 60,000 at Joe Robbie Stadium. Nice is ready to kick it away. Troy Stratford, Mark Higgs waiting for the Dolphins. Dolphins finished the season at 8-8 last year, losing 4 of their last 5, 6 and 10 the year before. And about to go 2-0. Higgs, keep it right there. The Dolphins will have it first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. 11:39 left in the contest. Over the fall season comes NFL football and new season premieres. All your favorite NBC shows. Premiere Week begins Monday night, continues through the remainder of the week. You'll see brand new episodes of The Cosby Show, Cheers, Unsolved Mysteries, a whole bunch more, plus all new movies and specials. You'll see NBC's great new shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Ferris Bueller, The Vanelli Boys, American Dreamer, Law & Order, a lot more. It's all fresh, it's all new. Premiere Week beginning Monday night, only on NBC. Page, Smith, that combo in the backfield behind Dan Marino that has been so effective. Tony Page with maybe a yard, wrapped up by Leon Seals. This game was so important, and we talked about it, Ahmad, at the top of the telecast for a lot of reasons for the Miami Dolphins. They have not fared in recent seasons that well against teams from within their own division. Just a couple of years ago, they were 0-8 against the AFC East.
The quickest way, or the only way to the Super Bowl is to win your division. So it starts right there. I think it's really amazing to watch this young offensive line just come into being. These guys, when you can go out and handle a defense like Buffalo's, it gives you so much confidence that's really going to pay off in weeks to come. If you can handle Buffalo, you can handle anybody.
Another carry, gain of a couple. Sammy Smith.
It is 2 yards.
And we remind you, this telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited. This game is property of the National Football League, the Miami Dolphins, and the Buffalo Bills, all rights reserved. Third and long, 3rd and 7. Marino working out of the shotgun. Marino has a man. It's Mark Clayton, and it's a first down. Flags down those. It looked like Buffalo may have jumped off a little bit early.
One of the receiver's dream is a rollout pattern, and Mark Clayton runs this route as good as anybody in the league. Got a Buffalo offsides run, but what happens is, as the quarterback rolls out, it gives you an opportunity.
Offside defense in the snap of the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. First down.
And Marino running back the other way, but it gives you an opportunity to take that defender as deep as you want to and then break back to the quarterback. And Marino throwing that ball up the wrong foot, going the wrong way, still able to throw it that far down the field, right on the money. And the money being Mark Clayton, I guess.
And he has been money in the bank for many years now for the Miami Dolphins. Timeout has been called. Stopping the clock with 10:03 left in the 4th. So the day cannot end soon enough for the Buffalo Bills. Miami loves the sunshine.
The rugged yet elegant 4-door V6 Mitsubishi Montero. When Car and Driver named it Best Buy among sport utilities under $20,000, they called it an uncommonly civilized vehicle. So we thought it only appropriate to go out and celebrate in an uncommonly civilized manner. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
In these uncertain times, the intelligent investor focuses on current trends, watches the economic indicators, analyzes the various business sectors, developing keen insights before making a single move on Wall Street. On the other hand, the extremely intelligent investor has someone else help him do it. Prudential-based securities, rock solid, market wise.
Sammy Smith on the carry on first down for Miami, taking the 45-yard line, a gain of 3.
56, Darryl Talley on the tackle along with Shane Conley, 58.
The Dolphins now just want to continue to hang on, eat up the clock, head out with a 2-0 record after their first 2 games for the first time since 1984.
One of the strange things about football, though, is they must maintain their intensity. Even though they lead the game by this much, they still have to come out and just fire out.
To apologize for those technical difficulties just experienced.
I thought I was about to black out.
I knew it was hot at Joe Robbie Stadium and humid today, but I didn't know it was that hot. It was starting to melt away here. Sammy Smith wrapped up.
All of a sudden I thought, there. Now, there's a little artsy, crafty look by our director, Dick Klein. I like that. A look through the fan. It's a lot cooler on the other side. One of the few fans that they have in Buffalo brought down to Miami to try to cool this team off, but they've been cooled off by a Miami Dolphin football team.
The heat all afternoon has been on the Bills' defense. Miami has owned the ball most of the game. They have it right now with 8:15 left, facing a 3rd and long, 3rd and 7. Jensen will not pick up the first down.
And this pass complete to Jim Jensen.
Quickly hit by Jackson and Odoms.
Tackled by Kirby Jackson, 47.
And another altercation. Jensen's been a battler throughout his career. He's played every skill position.
Those kind of fights are usually who can say the wittiest thing, you know, because if you get the last word in, then guys around a little pile laugh. So if you can say something real witty and then walk away from there, then it's something that everybody laughs at for the next week. But you certainly can't hurt anybody. Jim Jensen, especially Jim, he's an Iron Man.
Reggie Roby in to punt it away for the Miami Dolphins. We're talking about that week to week for the Miami Dolphins to maintain that intensity and that emotion that they're showing this afternoon. And Don Shula said he saw that develop during the preseason, that there were positive signs. Every week it got a little bit better.
Reggie Roby in the punt for the Miami
today,
Dolphins, deep for the Buffalo Bills.
it was the ultimate experience for the Dolphins. So the Bills go after the kicker. Don't get to Roby, though. Hale calling for the fair catch. Let's not forget about those 3 Bill turnovers today. They have translated into 17 Miami points. So 17 of the 30 Dolphin points today are direct results of giveaways by the Buffalo Bills.
Millions of years ago, nature created a vehicle that accelerates, steers, and stops with all 4s. That ingenious concept has now been engineered into a car. Introducing the Mitsubishi 3000 GT. With all-wheel drive, all-wheel steering, all-wheel anti-lock brakes, and 300 horsepower instead of just 1. Mitsubishi, the word is getting around.
Once, there were a few proud men of adventure, men of courage, men who knew the meaning of honor. There still are, the Marines. We're looking for a few good men.
What is the image of a rebel? These are the images of a rebel. Canon's revolutionary new autofocus EOS Rebel. So easy to stop taking snapshots and start taking photographs. Rebel. Image is everything. EOS Rebel from Canon. So advanced and
the Big Blue Wrecking Crew. The Dolphins battle the Giants.
Look into the 10-minute ticker real quickly. Chicago's increased their lead over Green Bay, while the Jets still maintain a 10-point advantage over the Cleveland Browns. And welcome back to Joe Robbie. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Frank Reich, the quarterback now for the Buffalo Bills. Getting back at the flat, Kenneth Davis. Plan B signing last year after spending his first 3 seasons in Green Bay. Do not become alarmed, Buffalo Bill fans. There's not an injury to Jim Kelly. This time that they put in the backup quarterback with 7.5 minutes left.
There hasn't been an injury to Jim Kelly, but there certainly has been an injury to the pride of this Buffalo Bills team. Jim Kelly, 14 for 23, 140 yards, but it seemed to me that he was always behind. It was always like every single play, like they're in a long yardage situation. They never did get synced, and they're not getting synced right now, or nobody knows where to line up.
Don Smith, Kenneth Davis. Working out of the backfield. 3rd and 3. Beebe can't hang on to it. It's been that kind of day for the Buffalo Bills.
Don Beebe is going through a receiver's funk. He is an excellent receiver, but sometimes receivers, you get into just a little bit of a funk where you just can't catch the ball no matter what you do. It's happened to every receiver. I don't care how many balls you go out and try to catch. It's just a little thing that happens that you just got to try to get back to the way you do it. He knows it more than anybody else.
Beebe dropped a certain touchdown pass in the end zone last week against the Patriots. Nice wobbles it out for Tony Martin. Martin, a moment of indecision, takes it into Buffalo territory. Down to 43-yard line. Don Shula in his 28th season, head coaching in the NFL. But looking back in this anniversary season for the Miami Dolphins, this is their 25th year.
Don Shula.
And looking back on what was his best season ever, 1972. It was quite a year for the Miami Dolphins. We'll reflect on that in just a second.
The man has aged gracefully.
First and 10. Just outside of the Bills 43 with Clayton in motion. Tony Page gets the call. Tony Page pulling his way all the way down to the 36. Well, the dream season, 1972 for Don Shula and Dolphin fans. The Miami Dolphins, this being their 25th anniversary, put together the only perfect season in NFL history, going 17-0.
Don Shula, no, I don't think he'd be doing much of that. I know now, now when he's out at practice, he does work out a bit. He runs gassers every now and then.
But is he leading calisthenics?
I don't think he's leading calisthenics. He's hired someone to do that. Junior Wade, the strength coach.
Knifing through Darryl Talley to get Tony Page in the backfield for a loss.
The difference in football and any other sport, there is no time in the game that you can feel like you have iced it away, because every single play, everybody's going 100 miles an hour. The time that you think that is the time that you end up with an injury. So you've got to always play hard regardless of the score. It's a tough time, especially when you're way ahead. You notice that Dan Marino's still in the game.
Just when you relax is when you take that shot. 3rd and 6, the ball at the 39. Jensen losing it, but it goes right to Fred Banks.
When it's going your way, everything goes your way.
Dolphins were worried about Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett, of course, coming into the contest. They weren't much of a factor, although Smith was in the backfield frequently on Dan Marino. But the Bills have made some changes defensively this year, Ahmad. They're putting Bennett and Smith on the same side frequently.
And moving them around quite a bit, but it didn't bother a veteran quarterback like Dan Marino, who's able to come up to the line of scrimmage, find out where those guys are, and run away from them. that won't be the case with a lot of quarterbacks. Dan Marino being one of the few that's on top of things enough to be able to, you know, change plays up at the line of scrimmage. But if they were able to run away from Bruce Smith next week, they're going to have to try to run away from Lawrence Taylor.
And LT looked pretty good in the opener despite missing the training camp.
Well, with his speed, he's tough to run at or run away.
Don't forget about that big matchup. It all starts with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern. So you'll see the Giants hosting these Miami Dolphins. Ahmad Nye will be in Green Bay at Lambeau Field. The matchup between the Packers and the Chiefs. And don't forget about the 4 o'clock game. The Steelers and the Los Angeles Raiders at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And the news out of Los Angeles this past week that Al Davis is committed to a 20-year lease with the Los Angeles Coliseum if there are certain improvements made by 1992.
Well, Al Davis is satisfied, but Marv Levy is a long ways from being satisfied here today.
Roby in to punt it away. Chris Hale off the side of the foot. That is a rarity for Reggie Roby. And it will roll to the 20-yard line. So Frank Reich and some of the Bills reserves will get another opportunity offensively. Updating those scores. Still a 7-point lead for the Lions as they look for their first win, losing by 17 to Tampa Bay last Sunday. Chicago increasing their lead over Green Bay. And it's still a 10-point game between the Jets and the Browns. The Rams on a roll in Florida. New England trying to even their record at 1-1. And Phoenix making it a lot closer than most thought. It was a 16-point halftime lead for the Miami Dolphins. And they were up by 30 before the Bills got their first points of the day. A little bit better than 11 minutes left in the game. Reich going for Don Smith. Out to the 29-yard line. Short of the first down by about a yard.
You know, Smith is down. It looked as if he may have fell on the ball coming down. It happens quite a bit. And what happens is you get the wind knocked out of you. When the wind is hot like it is in Miami, boy, it's tough to get a breath. That's one of the worst injuries in the world, to get the wind knocked out of you. Guys would pay $1 million for a breath. It looked like he landed right on top of the ball, hit him right in the middle of the stomach. And boy, I mean, that is a tough one. And the worst thing about it is the trainers come out and ask you what's wrong, and you can't breathe. You can't even tell them.
Buffalo Bills had the 5th best offense in the NFL last year, 3rd best rushing attack. Obviously, we did not see that today. But we were talking about the youth movement on the offensive line. Yes, it looked like it hit him right there, Ahmad, didn't it?
Yeah, it looked like he landed right on top of that ball. Because he's all right. He's now getting up, or getting ready to get up. He can finally breathe.
Earlier, we were talking about the youngsters on the offensive line as the Dolphins go with 2 rookies, left tackle Webb and the left guard Keith Sims. It's got to be encouraging for Oliver Dottie, the defensive coordinator, as well, against a good offensive unit like Buffalo's, to have this kind of performance, because there are some youngsters in the backfield. In the secondary, J.B. Brown only his 2nd season. Lewis Oliver, a 2nd-year man as well. Jarvis Williams only his 3rd year.
Well, they're just young, but they can play. You know, there's a major difference in being young and talented as opposed to just young. You think about Sims, who did an excellent job blocking on Cornelius Bennett all day today, and he's a load. My man here is a big fella. He wears a size 56 long jacket. He's 6'2", 310, 41-inch waist.
Kenneth Davis carrying the ball with flags down. He's got enough for the first down for Buffalo. A little bit better than 4 minutes left. But the flag, of course, a hold against the Bills. Size 56. We could get into that together.
Offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
56 long Keith Sims wears. 56 long coat, neck size 19 and a half. I'm sure he's got to go to the extra big men shop for some clothes. Big and fast.
Reich throwing, and it's complete to Beebe.
The biggest catch of the season for Don Beebe. That's what you need to do. It doesn't help to catch these balls in practice to get your confidence back. You got to catch them under fire. And if he can start doing this again, I think he gets back to where he was. He's an excellent receiver.
Smith over the middle. Hangs on to the 35.
Hugh Green on the tackle. I talked to Hugh Green yesterday. I said, Hugh, the thing that you want to do as a football player as you start to get older is to look around your locker room and know that you got a chance to win the championship. I said, can you do that in this locker room? He said, absolutely.
Reich on first down. As the gentleman you're talking about, Hugh Green, knocking the ball away. Kenneth Davis.
Hugh Green is just an excellent linebacker. Here's a guy that I played against when he first came into the league, and he was just, when he was at Tampa Bay, he was just a monster, and he's still there. He's had a lot of injuries in the past, but he's gotten rid of those injuries, and I talked to him yesterday. He said, they can't get rid of me because I'm going to be here.
Hugh Green almost had the sack of Frank Reich. Slips away. But flags down. He's out of bounds at the 35. Many felt that Hugh Green would not be able to make it all the way back from that knee injury. That severe one he had where he missed all of 86 and part of 87.
He just through hard work, staying in that rehab room, he showed a lot of him. Not only did he make it back, he made it back to the level that he was playing before he got hurt. And as a linebacker gets older, he becomes better because he becomes smarter. He doesn't waste a lot of energy going the wrong way. The smarter you are in this game, the better player you are. And to play for Don Shula, you've got to be a smart player. He does not deal with mistakes.
Illegal motion on the offense, number 80. Penalty is declined. Third down.
Call is on James Lofton. And it brings up 3rd and 10. The ball at the 35-yard line. Kenneth Davis, the only one in the backfield for the Bills. The screen over the middle. Did Williams ever read that? The strong safety Jarvis Williams putting down the running back.
Jarvis Williams and Louis Alva, they call themselves the B-52 Bombers. You'll see Williams here. Read this. Here he comes all the way from the. He sees it coming all the way. Comes up and makes the stop. The B-2 crew. These fellows played together in college, and they're playing quite well together now.
2 minutes and 55 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Dolphins by 23, raising the record to 2-0. Nice in to punt it away on fourth down. Tony Martin calling for the fair catch, and he loses it back inside the 25. Did he retrieve it?
No, he lost it. And that's the best offensive play that the Bills have had all day. His fumbled punt.
That is the first turnover of the afternoon for the Miami Dolphins. It comes very late. The game has already been determined.
Martin's had a tough time feeling these punts a couple of times today, and this one just gets away from him. And once that ball gets on the ground, your chances of getting it back are very slim. There you see him waving for a fair catch. He seems to misplay the ball. And Williams seems to be the one that's down there on top of it.
So Reich in the offense have it back now. And Buffalo's 3 turnovers have turned into 17 Miami points today. Pocket holding up. Going for Lofton and just barely tipped away.
You want to see a move by a cagey receiver. James Lofton right at the end of this play just pushes off. You watch number 80. Watch this separation here. James just pushes him a little bit in the back. But J.B. Brown able to recover and get up and get a hand on that ball. Very Sly move by James Lofton. By the way, he just had a new baby daughter this past week, him and his wife Beverly.
2nd and 10 from the 23. Beebe can't hang on. He was working on Rodney Thomas. There's the dime package in there. The extra defensive backs for the Miami Dolphins. Well, the Bills got off to such a great start last year, and then they had that period of time where they flattened out a little bit, that 5-game stretch where Bruce Smith told us yesterday it brought them all back to reality.
You know, Joe, I just can't help but feel for Don Beebe, who's just got a case of the drops, because all receivers, I went through a couple of weeks of having a case of the drops, but at least I had it like Monday through Saturday. Somehow Sunday I'd get rid of it, but it's like a batter in a slump. You know, you see the same balls, but you just can't hit them.
3rd and 10 from the 23. Flags up in the air. And it's underthrown with good coverage over there. They went for James Lofton, but J.B. Brown right there once again. He also had help from Louis Oliver.
But Don Shula told us that the best thing that happened to J.B. Brown is that they got Tim McKyer. And J.B. Brown is learning about that confidence factor from Tim McKyer. And Tim McKyer has some confidence. There's J.B. Brown.
Illegal motion on the offense. 2 men prior to the snap. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
J.B. Brown does not talk as much as Tim McKyer.
Well, you remember what Dan Marino told us yesterday what they have to do to Tim McKyer after practices.
It's the only guy after a game that everybody else ices down their hurts, and Tim has to ice down his throat. Tim McKyer, one of the premier defensive backs in the league.
He brings a lot to the Dolphins, especially in man-to-man coverage. Reich on 4th and 10. Going off McKyer's hands. He was looking for Al Edwards, the rookie from Northwest Louisiana State. McKyer right in front of the play.
Tim McKyer played that. It was a little play where he came up and played bump and run and had to follow a receiver all the way across the field. When you have to follow a guy all the way across the field, you got to worry about kicks. You got to worry about a guy's speed to run away from you. And McKyer was right there on him the entire way. I guarantee you he'll be talking about that one somewhere in the next week. A delightful guy, Tim McKyer. Loves to talk. Tony Page was his roommate during training camp. Said he had to wear earplugs.
McKyer, the elder statesman in that secondary in his 5th year out of Texas Arlington. And a new quarterback now for the Miami Dolphins, Scott Seacule. His 3rd year from Virginia. Nice move to the outside. Mark Higgs. Good yardage.
Mark Higgs showing like a little motor scooter out there. Very strong, powerful leg running back. Showing a lot of quickness to hit that hole and take off. But no matter what back they got, the offensive line is really firing out.
We have finally reached the 2-minute warning in a one-sided affair at Joe Robbie Stadium.
We built this business
to help insure your dreams.
Built this business
to make you feel safe and secure.
We built this business to build your future.
ITT built these businesses into leaders. We built them by taking care of people.
We built this business. We built this business to build your dreams. Built this business.
Looks like Rusty's back in town. The Miller Genuine Draft Rusty Wallace stock car. You'd better hold on.
The Mitsubishi Galant has won major awards in both Japan and America. It completed Car and Driver's 30,000-mile test with a perfect reliability record. And it performed so impressively that one automotive critic even called the Galant a genuine alternative to a BMW. If everyone listened to the experts, The Galant just might be the car that everyone drives. Mitsubishi. The word is getting around.
Only 203 yards of total offense today for the Buffalo Bills. One of the most balanced offensive attacks in the NFL. Some encouraging signs in South Florida. Miami Dolphin fans this early in the year. The Dolphins capitalized on just about every turnover, getting points on all 3 turnovers committed by Buffalo today.
Well, this win, a tremendous confidence builder for this Miami Dolphin team, because like I said earlier, Buffalo is a team at the top of the business, and to be able to beat them the way they've done here today, they've got to feel like they got to be near the top.
Mark Higgs again right at the first down marker, very close to another Miami first down. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie, to Bob Costas now for an update.
All right, Joel, Jeff George, prior to this play, had been intercepted 4 times, hadn't thrown for a touchdown, but he hangs in, fields the low snap, steps up in the pocket, and look how open Bill Brooks is. 68 yards for the touchdown. Indianapolis is within 2, just over 2 minutes remaining at the Hoosier Dome.
Back at Joe Robbie Stadium. Safe to say the Bills will not use their timeouts to stop the clock, trailing by 23. So we'll head back to Orchard Park. Get ready for a week on the road. This will be in the Monday night matchup with the New York Jets. First down carry goes nowhere.
Would you say they will shuffle back to Buffalo?
Very big week on NBC. With all the new fall shows coming up. And it begins premiere week Monday night. See brand new episodes of The Cosby Show. If you can give us some insight on that, Ahmad. Cheers, Unsolved Mysteries, and a whole bunch more, plus new shows. Great new lineup. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Ferris Bueller, The Finelli Boys, American Dreamer, Law and Order. It's all fresh and all new. Premiere week beginning tomorrow night, only on NBC.
A lot of good shows on NBC, but I'd have to say my favorite one comes on Thursday night.
It's a given.
Cheers.
Yeah, I was waiting for it. That should be the final snap of the contest. A dominating performance by Don Shula's Miami Dolphins, as they are now at 2-0, winning their first 2 games of the season for the first time since 1984, when they won their first 11 out of the blocks. And how often have we been able to talk about the Dolphin defense over the past decade? It's been rare.
Or their running attack. They really showed that they are a team on the come. They just played so well offensively and defensively. Don Shula enjoying number 200 as much as he enjoyed number 1.
It was a blowout today for the Miami Dolphins, leading at one point 30-0. We'll be right back to Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami.